Chapter 1751. Another strange thing about this strange animal was that it wasn't confined in a cage. Instead, it was lying on its side, lazily basking in the sun. There were no ropes or chains around its neck either. In other words, the harmless image of this guy was probably already deeply rooted in people's hearts. The truth was probably not far from this. Chu Yang walked up to it, squatted down and observed it carefully. When this strange animal saw that a human had arrived, it also opened its lazy eyes and looked at Chu Yang. Deep in its eyes, there was actually a trace of disdain and contempt. It was a kind of faint contempt. Although it was like the wind passing by without a trace, it really existed. It was as if the gods of the heavens were looking down on mortals. It was as if they were not in their eyes at all, as if they were looking down on mortals. Only when Chu Yang got closer did he realize that the fur all over this guy's body was almost purple. It actually faintly exuded a kind of aura. Sword spirit, take a closer look. Do you recognize what kind of spirit beast this is? The more Chu Yang looked, the more curious he became. I really haven't seen it before. The sword spirit carefully identified it for a moment and finally shook his head gloomily. Sword master, this doesn't seem to be a spirit beast. It's just an ordinary wild beast. Ordinary wild beast? Chu Yang was stunned. It can't be? Why would an ordinary wild beast be here? You must be mistaken. It doesn't make sense. That strange animal suddenly growled from its throat. It rolled its eyes and looked at Chu Yang. Then it rolled over and lay down on its back. It seemed that it had completely lost interest in a certain king of hell in front of it and was turning a blind eye to him. The next moment, it stretched out a front paw and scratched its belly contentedly. It seemed that this seemingly intentional and unintentional action had already exceeded the boundary of turning a blind eye. It directly treated Chu Yang in front of it as air. This guy looked very sloppy. But the fur on its belly was actually snow white and spotless. It was really clean to the extreme. Seeing this, Chu Yang's eyes lit up again. A strange species must have something strange about it. Even if this guy in front of him was a real wild beast, it was still a strange wild beast. Then Chu Yang put away the purple cloud tower and waved his hand to summon the steward here. Buddy, what kind of spirit beast is this? Chu Yang asked. The steward looked at Chu Yang with a funny expression and couldn't help but laugh. He said, "Guessed this is not a spirit beast? What a fucking joke." There was actually someone who had taken a fancy to this lazy guy who was just waiting to die. Something new had happened today. First, the animals that had not been seen in 100 years were inexplicably agitated. Following that, there was another idiot who mistook a wild beast for a spirit beast. He even seemed to have the intention of buying it. This was simply too refreshing. There were so many spirit beasts here, yet he didn't look at them. Instead, he took a fancy to an ordinary beast that didn't know how to do anything. If he didn't have too much money to burn, then he was a complete idiot. Do you think that choosing a spirit beast is like choosing a pet? You're saying that this isn't a spirit beast? Chu Yang frowned. Since it's not a spirit beast, why did you place it here? Dear guest, please listen to me. Actually, I don't know the exact origins of this fellow, but I heard from my senior that this beast came to us on its own and wasn't captured by our company's beast-catching team. I don't know when exactly it came, but it seemed to have suddenly appeared. And after it came here, it has been very docile. It ate whatever was there to eat and didn't eat anything else. It has been lying here all this time, not moving at all. And it won't cause any trouble. Although it's huge in size, it's very obedient. If it wasn't for the fact that it's completely harmless, why do you think we placed it here without confinement? The steward rolled his eyes and said, "But, dear guest, in fact this fellow is indeed very cute. If you want to buy it back as a pet or something, it'll definitely be worth the money. It'll definitely be awe-inspiring when you bring it out." It was rare that someone had taken a fancy to this fellow that no one would want even if it was given away for free. How could he not brag about it? If he could really sell it, he could even get back some money for the feed. There weren't many spendthrifts like this in this Heaven Imperial Court. Just based on this fellow's size, it's definitely not wrong. By the way, what kind of species is this fellow? A tiger? Or something else? This fellow belongs to your shop, so you must have some information about it, right? Chu Yang asked with great interest. I really don't know. In our Heaven Imperial Court, there's no record of such a strange animal. No one has ever seen it before. If you ask me, maybe it's some legendary rare beast. Seeing that this fellow was really interested, the steward suddenly became spirited and hurriedly boasted about it vigorously. Finally, this foodie was going to be sold. According to the analysis of my seniors, this fellow may also be the crossbreed of a cat and a tiger. As the steward said this, the corner of his mouth twitched. Chu Yang's eyes widened. What? The crossbreed of a cat and a tiger? Your cat can crossbreed with a tiger? Damn it, how can it be crossbred? Did a cat crossbreed with a tiger, or did a tiger crossbreed with a cat? Let's not talk about whether it's possible or not, let's talk about the size first. A tiger's thing is also bigger than a cat's, right? A cat's thing is not even as good as a toothpick to a tiger. How do you explain it? The steward was dumbfounded and sweated profusely. Didn't I just say something wrong? Do you have to be so agitated? I'm talking about the animal, not you. What the steward didn't know was that behind him, the strange animal also propped up half of its body and glared fiercely at the steward's back. It opened its mouth and revealed its white fangs. Even the fur on its head stood up one by one, as if it was unable to restrain its anger. But then, it lowered its head and continued to scratch its stomach. All right, stop talking nonsense. Just tell me how much this wild beast is worth. Jianghu asked. A certain king of hell wasn't stupid. He directly locked the price on the wild beast. You dare to sell a wild beast at the price of a spirit beast? If you really want to buy it, then. The steward's eyes turned. 50 purple soul coins. Seeing that Chu Yang's expression was unhappy, he hurriedly said, Sir, 50 purple soul coins really isn't much. Such a big one, even if you kill it and sell it, you can sell it for dozens of purple soul coins. When the feline that looked like a cat and tiger heard this, the fur on its body stood up again. All right. Chu Yang didn't intend to bargain. He happily gave the money. When he said wild beast just now, it was probably a psychological hint. He was afraid that the steward would be suspicious and cause unnecessary trouble. This fellow could ignore the aura of the purple firmament tower. What kind of wild beast could do that? Just this point alone made Chu Yang recognize that it was extraordinary. Not to mention 50 purple soul coins, even if it was 50 purple cloud coins, Chu Yang felt that it was worth it. But now it was better to save as much as possible. If he really gave a high price, it might attract suspicion. The manager received the 50 purple spirit coins and immediately beamed with joy. Congratulations, esteemed guest, this ferocious beast is now yours. Although it's not a spirit beast, its appearance is definitely one of a kind in the Heaven Imperial Court. Just this point alone, even if you don't make a profit, you'll still be awe-inspiring when you take it out. Don't you think so? Chu Yang frowned. He snorted and said, What a load of nonsense. Would my eyesight be wrong? Alright, how do I take it away? Do I need to sign a divine contract? The steward's eyes widened to the extreme. If it weren't for his eyes, they might have shot out. He stuttered, Sir, you want to sign a divine contract with such a wild beast? Just now he was praising this fellow to the heavens. Maybe the legendary rare beast had become a wild beast in the blink of an eye. The steward cursed in his heart, Can you be any more stupid? This fellow's brain must be damaged. There are so many spirit beasts out there, and you want to sign a contract with an ordinary wild beast? No attack, no defense, no speed. It had no strength, it was a product that was completely useless from head to toe. This fellow's brain must have been kicked by a donkey. Nonsense. Chu Yang said matter-of-factly. If I don't sign a contract, how can I take it away? Is your brain damaged or has it been kicked by a donkey? Why are you asking such stupid questions? How can your boss be at ease with you serving customers? The steward's face twisted. After a while he said, Signing a contract requires another 100 purple soul coins. Since you want to sign a contract with a piece of trash, why should I stop you? Anyway, I'm not the unlucky one. When the time comes, I'll know who's the one whose brain was damaged and who was kicked by a donkey. Chu Yang was very straightforward. Isn't it just 100 purple soul coins? Take it. The steward took out a piece of beast parchment. On it, the seal of the Heavenly Watchtower's Eastern Royal Heavenly Oath Division was impressively written. First, he burned incense and prayed. Then he took out a bottle of strong alcohol and poured it on the oath. When Chu Yang and the strange animal were not far apart, the oath suddenly lit up. The oath paper instantly scattered into specks of starlight and flew towards the foreheads of Chu Yang and the wild beast. A trace of disdain flashed past the eyes of the fellow lying lazily on the ground. It didn't resist at all during the entire process. To be more precise, it didn't even react much. A certain king of hell who was full of joy felt that he had succeeded. He suddenly screamed, and his divine sense, which had just recovered, was almost completely scattered. The steward, who was carrying out the oath, let out a miserable groan at the same time. He spat out a mouthful of blood and almost fainted. Chu Yang could clearly feel that the power of the oath had actually rebounded violently. For a moment he was confused. What? The steward said in a daze. Why did this happen? What's going on? The strange animal that looked like a cat and a tiger lazily rolled its eyes. It was still indifferent, as if all this had nothing to do with it. Under Chu Yang's constant urging, the steward didn't believe in heresy and changed the oath paper again. This time it was very straightforward. Chu Yang screamed and jumped up. He had a splitting headache and it wasn't fake at all. The steward directly twitched and spat out 3 mouthfuls of blood. Then he fainted magnificently. The sword spirit, who was in the tribulation space, was dumbfounded by this unexpected situation. What exactly is going on? I just applied for a public WeChat account. Everyone quickly take out your phones and add me. You can go to my Sina Weibo or Tencent Weibo to see the pinned Weibo. You can scan the QR code there. You can also directly search for the account. Z79062520030723. My nickname is Wind Conquers the World. You can find me. Come quickly, I'm waiting for you. Brothers and sisters, welcome to join. If there's any new news in the future, I'll share it with you at any time. It's my first time doing it and I don't have any experience. Then I made the number too long. Sigh, it's a mistake, I hope everyone doesn't mind. The point is, it's my first time doing it. Come on, brothers and sisters, what are you waiting for? Chapter 1752. Chu Yang had a flash of inspiration. Does the problem come from this beast? What kind of beast can be so evil? Chu Yang went forward and put on a very amiable and cordial face. Then he said in an extremely gentle voice, Hey buddy, do you want to go out with me for a stroll? How about we go and conquer the world together? The sword spirit held his forehead in the tribulation space and almost fainted. Oh, my lord Swordmaster, even if you talk to a spirit beast like this, it won't understand, let alone an ordinary beast. What kind of master did I follow? This strange animal raised its head and looked at Chu Yang. Then it lazily lowered its head again. It doesn't seem to understand? This possibility is more likely. It would be strange if it could understand. That's a beast. Of course. There's another possibility, that meant that he understood but was unwilling. Damn you, with your poor and destitute appearance, you still want me to follow you and suffer hardships? Anyway, no matter which possibility it is, there's a little bit of disdain in it. Are you willing to be my partner? Let's be friends? I'm very sincere. Don't tell me that this sincere face of mine isn't enough to explain the problem? Chu Yang didn't give up and asked. He directly threw away his face. That guy lowered its head and began to comb its beard with its claws. It completely ignored Chu Yang. Damn it. Chu Yang grabbed this guy and wanted to pull it up and take it away, but he unexpectedly found that this guy was as heavy as a mountain and didn't move at all. Damn it. Chu Yang cursed in his heart. The strength of his hands is more than 10 million pounds. Although he didn't use all his strength when he pulled just now, even 100 adult tigers would have been lifted up. But now he can't pull this guy? Moreover, it made a few grunting sounds and rolled its eyes. It was obviously a little dissatisfied. I obviously don't want to go with you, so why are you pulling me? Chu Yang was also stunned. What the hell is going on? I've paid the money but the contract can't be completed. It seems that I can't take it away. Isn't it stupid? The sword spirit was full of suspicions. Lord Swordmaster, why do you want this useless guy? This guy doesn't even have the slightest bit of offensive power. Even if we bring him back, it has nothing to do with your grand plan. Chu Yang frowned and said, My intuition tells me that this guy is very unusual. Moreover, although his current body looks huge, it actually gives people a dreamlike illusory feeling. Just now when I grabbed it with my hands, it seemed to really exist. This guy is definitely not simple. He's definitely not an ordinary wild beast. The sword spirit scoffed at this. I really can't see what's so special about this guy. Is it that it's rare to be both a cat and a tiger? From the looks of it, it was at most a piece of trash that could be slaughtered and eaten. Otherwise it would be kept for fun. Although Chu Yang really wanted her, he couldn't take her away. So he could only sigh helplessly. He sighed and said, I can't believe that I, the master of the Calamity Sword, a legendary legend, can't even take a tiger away. He suddenly felt that the world was very vast. The Calamity Sword seemed to have sensed something. Unconvinced, it jumped in his dantian. Chu Yang waved his hand and summoned the Calamity Sword. It turned into a palm-sized dagger and lay flat in his palm. He smiled bitterly and said, You also don't feel strong? You're still the best. You'll never leave me. However, the moment Chu Yang took out the Calamity Sword, the animal that looked like both a cat and a tiger suddenly trembled, as if it suddenly felt something unbelievable. Then it stood up with a whoosh. The next moment it was already in front of Chu Yang. Its two eyes stared at the Calamity Sword without blinking. Its curled tail kept wagging. Deep in its eyes it was actually moved, excited, and eager. Then it raised its head and looked at Chu Yang. Chu Yang could clearly see that this guy's eyes were actually slowly filled with tears. It was a kind of bitterness caused by extreme excitement. It was as if a loving couple who hadn't seen each other for 8 million years suddenly reunited on the war-torn streets. This kind of gaze even made Chu Yang shudder. This guy looks like a male. Why is he looking at me like this? What's going on? It can't be that he suddenly lost his mind, right? What's going on? What's wrong with you? Chu Yang asked dumbfoundedly. There was a bit of fear in his tone. He saw that guy slowly crawl in front of him. It rubbed its head against his trousers, sniffed, and whimpered. Its voice seemed to be filled with infinite sadness and disappointment. It raised its head again and looked at the Calamity Sword for a long time, motionless. Then, it circled around her once and its tears actually fell in a circle just like that. Patter, patter. What's going on? What's going on? Chu Yang was a bit stiff. How could a beast be so emotional? How could it have such rich emotions? It actually cried? After the animal that looked like both a cat and a tiger circled around Chu Yang, it raised its head and whimpered at Chu Yang. Then it nodded and said, meow. Chu Yang almost fell over in shock. This guy that was even bigger than a tiger actually opened its mouth and meowed like a cat? Oh my god, what's going on? This world is chaotic and crazy. Even a tiger can meow like a cat. Could it be a foreign language? Then Chu Yang suddenly felt a clear message in his mind. Where did you get this sword? Chu Yang was startled and subconsciously answered, this sword is mine. After answering he realized, who was talking to me just now? Yours? The clear message continued with a heartfelt joy and an irrepressible excitement. Well, it's great. I've waited for so long. You just said that you want to be my partner? Do you want to treat me as a friend? Only then did Chu Yang realize. It turned out that the one who was communicating with him was actually this animal that looked like both a cat and a tiger on the ground. He couldn't help but let out a strange cry and said, You can speak human language? It actually knew more than 2 foreign languages. What a talent. Well, it should be a beast talent. The feline that looked like both a cat and a tiger rolled its eyes, and the message continued to come, you're really strange. Why did he find a successor like you? Your eyesight is really bad. Oh, who are you talking about? Chu Yang's heart almost stopped beating. It seemed that this beast's background was quite big. The feline said, let's not talk about those useless things first. Let's just talk about whether what you just said is true or not. You just said that you want to go out with me to conquer the world? We are partners, friends? Not a superior and subordinate relationship? Of course. Chu Yang only felt that his heart was thumping. Even he himself didn't know why he was so excited. I always keep my words. Yes. Immediately, Chu Yang felt an exceptionally pure power unfold in front of him. Then, that power of nothingness unexpectedly formed a clear oath in front of him. Equal brotherhood contract. Chu Yang still recognized this oath. As long as you sign it, we will be brothers from now on. You call me Big Brother and I will be responsible for protecting you. The feline that looked like both a cat and a tiger's voice was incomparably lively. I will take you to create a legend. Create a legend. Chu Yang was stunned. He was completely stunned. Fuck, I came here to buy a spirit beast, but now I'm actually going to be taken in as a little brother by a spirit beast? If this were to spread out, Minister Chu might as well kill himself. Don't think about any lofty ambitions. You are already reduced to a spirit beast subordinate. How can you fight for hegemony in Jianghu? I can sign an equal oath. Chu Yang firmly shook his head, but I must be the big brother. The feline that looked like both a cat and a tiger had a face full of disdain, and continued to send a message. How old are you? 20. What's wrong? Meow meow, do you know how old I am? You dare to say that you are the big brother at such a young age? Then how old are you? In any case, I am older than you. So, I am the big brother and you are my little brother. That won't do. This thing is not based on age. Besides, I am a human. What's so great about a human? In any case, I must be the big brother. No, I want to be the big brother, I must be the big brother. Both sides argued in their minds for a while. Unexpectedly, both of them felt their faces turn red. This feline that looked like both a cat and a tiger obviously looked down on Chu Yang, and continued to send a message. No, with your little cultivation, with your little achievements, you want to be my big brother? No matter what you say, the big brother must be me. That's settled. Chu Yang rolled his eyes. Settled? You say it's settled? Who do you think you are? With your appearance, with your sloppy appearance, with your behavior that is neither like a cat nor a tiger, and that makes people suspicious, you want to be my boss? Wishful thinking. Let me tell you, the big brother must be me. Only when I say it will it count. Meow. What did you say? I'm going to be angry. I'm really going to be angry. A certain feline that looked like both a cat and a tiger jumped up and down. It was really hard to imagine that such a huge body could be so agile. Even a real cat was not as agile as this. I am the one who is going to be angry. Since we can't come to an agreement, then let's forget about it. Chu Yang rolled his eyes and said, as the saying goes, even half a sentence is too much when you can't see eye to eye with me. I certainly won't be your little brother. So, you don't need to be my big brother anymore. Let's part ways from here on. Let's go our separate ways. After that, he turned around and left without any reluctance. Whoosh. Somehow that fellow had already blocked Chu Yang's way. His speed was really fast like a ghost. He said in exasperation, "You are not allowed to leave. We haven't made it clear yet, where are you going?" Seeing that this beast had such a terrifying speed, Chu Yang was also shocked. But being shocked was one thing and he still had to reason. He said angrily, "You are not allowed to leave? Why should I listen to you? I will leave if I want to. We have already made it clear that we are going our separate ways. Why haven't we made it clear? Is there something wrong with your brain? Can't you understand human language?" The feline that looked like both a cat and a tiger said angrily, "You dare to say that I don't understand human language? Let me ask you, what am I going to do if you leave?" Chapter 1753. What? What are you going to do? Someone like you dares to say that ZJ can understand human language? Chu Yang rolled his eyes. You are destined to be a big brother. You are destined to have nothing to do with me. In the past, you won't have anything to do with me now. Don't tell me you can't live after I leave? Someone's big brother? The feline and tiger-like fellow meowed angrily. Anyway, you are not allowed to leave. Why don't you try leaving? This time, the unconscious manager seemed to show signs of waking up. He moaned softly. The feline and tiger-like fellow moved and appeared beside the manager again like a ghost. Then he slapped him with his claws very savagely. It was as if he was venting. The head of a certain steward, who was already unconscious, suddenly tilted to the side. He was sent flying a distance of 30 to 40 feet before landing on the ground. 2 shiny teeth flew out of his mouth. Without any suspense, he once again fell into a deep coma. After doing all this, he flashed again and blocked in front of Chu Yang, not allowing him to leave. He looked a little anxious. The entire process seemed to have happened in the blink of an eye. Adding everything together, it did not even seem to have taken a single breath. This strength was enough to make a certain king of hell speechless. Could ZJ do it? The answer was obviously no. This fellow was so violent. And he actually knew how to slap. And he did it so smoothly. This made Chu Yang look at him in a new light. Such a clumsy and huge body, Chu Yang made a judgment. That beast paw just now, if he slapped ZJ, it seemed that ZJ might not be able to dodge it. Did you see that? If you dare to leave, I'll make sure your flowers turn red today. Tell me, what do you want? I will definitely not call you big brother. Chu Yang was also on the verge of breaking down. Looking at the situation in front of him, if he left, ZJ would definitely not be able to leave. But if he stayed, he would most likely have to call him big brother? Oh no. He was calling a spirit beast big brother? This was something that Chu Yang could not tolerate. Anyway, don't even think about leaving. This fellow was also on the verge of breaking down. He seemed to be very conflicted. Anyway, you have to call me big brother. If you don't call me big brother, don't even think about leaving. Call me big brother and we will leave together. Get lost. If you want me to call you big brother, I will never call you big brother. Chu Yang was annoyed and walked away. Let's go our separate ways. He would rather be beaten to death than be scared to death. If ZJ was scared by someone, he would be scared to death. Calling him big brother? Is that Chu Yang? Was he still the legendary master of Calamity Sword? After taking 5 steps, Chu Yang realized that he couldn't move at all. The air around his body became incomparably viscous. It seemed that the word viscous was not very appropriate to describe it. It should be said that it had completely condensed into a substance. No matter how viscous the BJNG was, it was still mobile. Chu Yang couldn't even lift his leg. The sword spirit in the tribulation space suddenly widened his eyes. Unbelievable? What kind of situation is this? This was not something that any Shmi beast could do. No, even if it was a human, how many people could do it? Could it be the legendary space freezing? It couldn't be. ZJ was a lazy fellow that he didn't even take a second look at. How could he have such unfathomable strength? The Shmi was too crazy. Even a beast could be so domineering and insufferably arrogant. Chuyang was trapped. He couldn't move even a little bit. However, he didn't panic. You want to follow me? Sure. You have to call me Big Brother. Chuyang rolled his eyes. Otherwise, don't even think about following me. You can trap my body, but can you trap my heart? The cat and tiger spirit beast's throat kept gurgling. The calamity sword in Chuyang's hand shone brightly. It looked at the calamity sword with more and more admiration and attachment. Then, when it saw Chuyang's uncompromising expression, it had no choice but to lower its head. After all, the situation was stronger than the person. The initiative was in this small hand. All right, I'll let you off easy. Let's sign a partnership contract. You can do whatever you want, but I have a condition. The cat and tiger spirit beast said. Shmi condition? Chuyang asked cautiously. Actually, it's not a condition. You have to call me by my name in the future. The cat and tiger spirit beast said. What? What did you say? You're saying that you want me to call you by your name in the future? Chuyang was now very suspicious. Was there a problem with ZJ's comprehension ability, or was there a problem with this fellow's ability to organize his words? This is called a Shmi condition. If I call you by your name, I have to call you by your name. If I don't call you by your name, how can I call you by your name? Is this fellow a Shmi beast? Yes, this is the condition. Tell me if it's okay or not. The cat and tiger spirit beast said. Rugwa, if this is your condition, then I'll be magnanimous and promise you. Chuyang said in a very graceful and elegant manner. You agreed. You promised me. If you go back on your word, don't worry. I won't go back on my word. As long as you listen to me in the future, I'll call you by your name. Then it's a deal. The cat and tiger spirit beast raised its head. I'll listen to you in the future, but you have to call me by my name when you call me by my name. My name is Big Brother Tiger. Remember to call me by my name. Fuck. Chuyang was speechless again. It seemed that ZJ was played by a certain tiger. No wonder he brought up such a condition. So he was waiting for me to beat him up. His name is Big Brother Tiger? Why don't you call me Master Tiger? Oh heavens, oh earth, could it be that I, the Tribulation Sword Master, was tricked by a spirit beast? But this fellow is actually a tiger? There's actually a tiger with a mouth full of meowing in this world? He glanced sideways and said, Big Brother Tiger? You're a tiger? The way I see it, you're just a kitten at best, a slightly bigger kitten. The cat and tiger spirit beast flew into a rage. I'm a tiger. Not a big cat. Also, when you call me by my name, you have to call me Big Brother Tiger. Meow. Chuyang was speechless. Although he was depressed, he was secretly delighted. This was because Chuyang had completely sensed the tyrannical strength of this guy when he displayed his might just now. Moreover, this tyrannical strength was suppressed with all his might, so it wouldn't be surprising if it was only 1/100th of his true strength. This astonishing strength made Chuyang feel apprehensive. However, Chuyang couldn't figure out why such a powerful spirit beast would appear here. Why would such a powerful spirit beast talk to the government so nicely? Why would such a powerful spirit beast acknowledge ZJ so quickly? Chuyang could only vaguely confirm that there was definitely something going on with Tribulation Sword. Tribulation Sword. It should be the source of all the mysteries. He bit his index finger. A drop of dark red blood seeped out and entered the spirit beast contract circle made by Big Brother Tiger first. The blood seemed to have entered water. It gradually spread and quickly blended in. The rules of a spirit beast contract were as such. The blood that entered first was bigger. Chuyang's blood entered first, which meant that Chuyang had the absolute dominant position in the contract circle. Big Brother Tiger looked unwillingly at Chuyang's blood seeping into the circle. That cat's face revealed a clear human-like annoyance. Then, it suddenly circulated its energy and forced out a drop of blood from its forehead. It entered the contract circle. In the blink of an eye, an invisible storm began to spread. In the clouds, the #1 general of the Eastern Royal Heavens Oath Department, who had nothing to do and wished that something would happen to pass the time, looked down in boredom. The continent, which he thought was ordinary and rarely had anything major happen, was suddenly sent tumbling by the powerful aura of the Oath of the Eastern Royal Heavens. It rolled around in the air like an embroidered ball. It kept spitting out blood. In the end, it had no strength to struggle. It was just rolling around in the clouds in an extremely sorry state. Slowly, it was almost at its last breath. How can this be? What's going on? What the hell happened? This number one general of the Oath Department revealed a sincere fear in his eyes. He wanted to find out what went wrong. But he couldn't find out what happened. What kind of contract is this? Even I can't preside over it? It wants to destroy me, the one who presides over the contract? And it's going straight to heaven and earth? What is this? This number one general asked in a low voice in pain and confusion. But his divine sense was slowly falling into unconsciousness. According to the rules, Chu Yang and Brother Tiger had to get the approval of the Oath Department to officially sign the contract. So, the power of the oath rushed into the sky, seeking to be a witness. But the Oath Department clearly didn't have the strength to witness the oath with such a powerful existence, so it suffered a backlash from the power of the oath. In the end, this supervisor of the Oath Department fell unconscious. No, not only did he not wake up, but it seemed like he was about to die from the impact. The power of the oath rushed to an unknown height. Then an invisible force returned from the vast sky, entering Chu Yang and Brother Tiger's bodies and divine sense like lightning. Since no one could preside over the contract, let heaven and earth bear witness and preside over it. As for the supervisor of the Oaths Division, who was known as the number one general, his soul was about to collapse. Fortunately, the power of the Oaths Division came and went quickly. It did not make things difficult for him. If his soul was really destroyed, he would have completely disappeared. However, this general's condition was still very dangerous. If he couldn't be treated quickly, he would still die. In his last moments, his last bit of clarity told him that there was only one person in this land. Or there was someone who could treat and save ZJ. That was ZJ's last hope, his only hope. And now, with his last bit of clarity, his divine sense wouldn't allow him to go too far. That's the only place that's close to me. Almost unconsciously, he tumbled and fell from the sky. With his last bit of clarity, he locked onto the target of ZJ's fall. Then he completely lost his consciousness. Everything will be left to heaven's will. Chapter 1754. In the Eastern Royal Skies Oaths Department, the governor of the Oaths Department, whose cultivation base was unfathomable, was currently drinking tea with the Prime Minister. He had spent a great deal of effort to invite the Prime Minister over. Update P. The governor of the Oaths Division had prepared countless questions for the Prime Minister. He swore that he would dig out some valuable information from the Prime Minister today. He had been walking on thin ice for the past few days. It was simply too unbearable. Prime Minister, I say that, you're just giving me a little hint, right? It's more or less meaningful. The governor of the Oaths Division smiled flatteringly and poured tea for the Prime Minister. It's not that I can't, but I really can't. The Prime Minister sipped his tea calmly. Sigh, Prime Minister, you? The governor of the Oaths Division was about to shamelessly persuade the Prime Minister when suddenly, his body shook and he sat there in a daze. Hey! The Prime Minister was stunned. What's wrong? The governor sat there in a daze. His face was deathly pale and he didn't look much better than a dead person. This change came too suddenly and there were no signs at all. However, the bigger change was yet to come. In the next moment he suddenly started bleeding from his 7 orifices. With a wuss sound, he spat out a large mouthful of blood, which turned into a bloody mist. With a gudong sound he fell on his back and stopped breathing. The Prime Minister jumped in fright. Ah, what's going on? Could it be that this fellow didn't come here to threaten me with his death? If I don't tell him the truth, he'll commit suicide. This isn't forcing me. Fuck, I've never seen anything like this before. You're the governor of the Oaths Division and one of the top experts in the Eastern Royal Sky. How can you use such a despicable method? Is it worth it? What's the meaning of hurting yourself and others? For a moment, the Prime Minister was extremely conflicted. Therefore, after beating his chest and patting his back, he finally woke up the governor. Before he could say anything, he saw the governor looking at the Prime Minister in a daze. The governor said something that made the Prime Minister's heart skip a beat. Prime Minister, please quickly investigate whether the Saint Monarch and the Heavenly Devil Emperor have come to the Eastern Royal Heaven and made a vow for the duel in the Eastern Royal Heaven. This matter is very important and cannot be delayed. If it's delayed, I'm afraid it will ruin everything. When the Prime Minister heard this news, he only felt his head buzzing, and he almost felt the world spinning around him in an instant. He immediately dashed out of the Prime Minister. Not a single trace of the senility from before could be seen as he disappeared with a whoosh. It was really those two people. Half of the Eastern Royal Sky would be destroyed by them. And only those two people could put the governor in such a difficult position. The governor panted heavily, his face pale. It was clear that he still had some lingering fear. If not for His Majesty's royal aura protecting him, wouldn't he have, damn it, who came to the eastern royal sky to mess around? That scared this old man to death. Are they trying to kill this old man on purpose? Just the power of the Oaths division almost killed me. I'm a heavenly human. Even in the entire Heaven Imperial Court, I'm one of the top experts. After a long time. The Prime Minister came back with a gloomy face. The Governor-General asked impatiently, Prime Minister, which two almighties have come to our territory? Are there going to be a battle between realms? Hurry up and tell me, don't let this official make wild guesses. The Prime Minister's face was about to be flattened. He was unable to restrain his anger. Bullshit cross-border battle. Almighty your head. Nothing happened at all. You old bastard, you're trying to kill me. This Prime Minister is not done with you. How could he not be angry? Just now, when the Prime Minister saw how anxious the governor was, he naturally believed half of it. How could he dare to be negligent? He hurriedly went out to inquire about the whereabouts of the Lord Saint, the Sky Devil Emperor, and the other sovereigns. If it was really as the governor's judgment, it would be good to make preparations early. However, the answers he got were very uniform. The lords were in the palace. They didn't go out. Then there were questions and vigilance from all sides. May I ask, what's your intention for asking about the Lord's whereabouts? What's my intention? What do you mean by asking about the Lord's whereabouts? The Prime Minister was dumbfounded on the spot. Damn it, what's my intention? I was still tricked by that thing. Nothing happened? You really found out? The governor was stunned. Of course nothing happened. The Prime Minister was furious. What can happen? How can nothing happen? The governor was completely stunned. I was clearly injured by the power of the oath just now. Didn't you see it just now? The Prime Minister flicked his sleeves and left. I think you're clearly not injured enough. I can make you more injured. You old bastard, I've been nice to you all these years, but I've really spoiled you. You made up such a lie and you scared me silly. The governor chased after him with a bitter face. Prime Minister, please listen to me. It's really... Before he could finish, the Prime Minister had disappeared without a trace. The governor sat on the threshold of the door, wanting to cry but having no tears. I'm so fucking innocent. Who is the one who made such a big commotion? Are they trying to play me to death? What the fuck is this? The next day, the Prime Minister issued an edict on behalf of His Majesty. The governor of the Division of Oaths neglected his duty. All officials of the Division of Oaths would be fined 1 year's salary. Moreover, their workload would be doubled from then on. A supervisory body would be set up to supervise the work of the Division of Oaths at all times. Any slight negligence would be severely punished. As soon as this edict was issued, the Division of Oaths was filled with wails and complaints. Obviously, a certain Prime Minister was abusing his position to avenge a personal grudge. The Division of Oaths would be plunged into darkness from now on. Chu Yang finally completed the contract. Immediately he flew into a rage. Because when a spirit beast signed a contract, it was destined to reveal its true form. Chu Yang would never have thought that this 30 feet tall guy, who lazily called himself Brother Tiger, would actually be so unexpected. A small and exquisite spirit beast was floating in front of him. That's right, small and exquisite. Yes, it had straight ears. Sly eyes with distinct black and white. Its body was covered in colorful fur, and it had a noble and majestic purple aura. However, it was really a little fellow that was at least 100 times smaller than before. It was only the size of a palm. This time it didn't look like a cat or a tiger. It completely looked like a cat and not a tiger. Your brother Tiger? Chu Yang looked at this little fellow and had the urge to faint on the spot. Yes, this is Brother Tiger's valiant and mighty image. Perfect, right? The little fellow combed its beard complacently. Chu Yang's vision went black and he staggered twice. I really thought you were that big. In the end, you're a little fellow that's not even half a kilogram. Okay. I admit it. Anyway, since I came to this territory, misfortune has never left me. Chu Yang said, come here, Brother Tiger. I'll carry you. You're so small. Don't pretend to be a big guy. What are you talking about? How can my mighty Brother Tiger be carried away by someone else? This is blasphemy. This is blasphemy and contempt. Brother Tiger shook the colorful tiger fur on its body. I want the sky above my head, the earth beneath my feet, the universe with a smile, and the universe with disdain. The contract was completed. Brother Tiger landed on the ground again. In the blink of an eye, it returned to its original huge size. Chu Yang was speechless. The sword spirit was in a daze. Chu Yang and Brother Tiger began to walk out valiantly and spiritedly. Along the way, Brother Tiger walked with a majestic gait. Chu Yang followed beside it, his face a little red, because the contract was signed. But who exactly was this man? Chu Yang didn't know at all. How much fighting power did he have? Chu Yang didn't know either. If he went to the Spirit Beast game market, could he win? Chu Yang still didn't know. He signed it in a daze. And he almost became the Spirit Beast's little brother. Thinking of this, Chu Yang was a little speechless and depressed. Oh heavens, oh earth! At this moment, order had been restored in the Spirit Beast Trading Center. It was all because of the appearance of the Purple Firmament Tower. As Chu Yang kept the Purple Firmament Tower, the spiritual energy naturally disappeared without a trace. Once the source of the disturbance was gone, the Spirit Beasts turned from restless to lonely. It was a little human-like and at a loss. With the management of the trading center, the chaos naturally calmed down. When the chaos subsided and order was restored, everyone returned to their normal line of thought. Almost everyone, whether it was the staff of the trading center or the guests who had yet to leave, all had their eyes focused on Chu Yang and Brother Tiger. They walked out valiantly and spiritedly. This scene indisputably caused another sensation in an instant. Damn. This, what's going on? Did I see wrongly? I'm really speechless. It's actually that trash Spirit Beast. No, wild beast was sold today. Someone actually bought that wild beast. What did they buy it for? To kill it and eat its meat? Strange things happen every day. How can it be as strange as today? I'm dying of laughter. Nothing is too strange in this world. Today I saw another surprise. No, it should be a legend. It's indeed a legend. Someone actually spent money on this wild beast. There's simply no limit to prodigal, no limit to hedonistic, no limit to idiotic. It's really too awesome. To be able to spend money on this, besides being prodigal, hedonistic and idiotic, it's also a kind of courage. Courage my ass. This is a waste of money. Stupid people have too much money who can do anything about it. Wait, I seem to know that person. Alright, isn't that Zhen Yukai? Zhen Yukai? The Zhen Yukai who's been popular in the Spirit Beast Trading Center recently? The legendary, most famous Big Brother wealth disperser? Yes. What the hell, I was wondering who was so awesome, so it's Zhen Yukai. That's right, other than him who can be so talented. Discerning eyes, yes, it should be discerning eyes that recognize spirit beasts, recognize wild beasts. Chapter 1755. Among the sounds of ridicule there were of course different voices. Nonsense, what kind of eyesight does he have? He must have an all-seeing eye for spiritual beasts. This time there's no accident at all. I reckon that Zhen Yukai is most likely going to use this super spiritual beast to win back his capital. A windfall from the sky to a person. Those who don't take it are going against the will of the heavens. How can the heavens defy the will of the heavens? I'm going to prepare the money. Today I have to do a good job. Yes, a heaven-sent opportunity. Let's go together. It had to be said that Chu Yang's incarnation of Zhen Yukai had become a new celebrity in Wuxia City during this period of time. As for the fact that the origin of such a wealthy man was unknown. In the Heaven Imperial Court, many warriors wandered around the Jianghu. There were many people with unknown origins. They disappeared after appearing for a while, so no one really cared about them. As the saying goes, even a strong dragon can't suppress a local snake. Besides, this Zhen Yukai was very rich. It wasn't strange that he was rich. The most important thing was that he was very good at losing. Such a foolish person had a lot of money. How could people not like him when he was so rich? Chu Yang walked out with Brother Hu. A certain person's face was full of black lines. He had to forcibly restrain himself so that no one could see it. This was truly a great sorrow. Fuck, am I really so famous now? Isn't it just losing money for 7 or 8 nights in a row? Why is it so well known? Are they all a bunch of paupers who haven't seen money in half their lives? Minister Chu curled his lips and walked out disdainfully with his head held high and chest out. Behind him, countless smart people began to make small calculations in their hearts. Should I also buy a spiritual beast to enter the Spiritual Beast Gaming Center? Should I go and fight with this foolish but rich Zhen Yukai? That money is simply equivalent to the wind blowing. Immediately, someone put this idea into action. When one person moved, the others followed. In an instant, the Spiritual Beast Trading Center was extremely popular. Even many of the trash spiritual beasts that had been accumulated for a long time were sold out today. No matter how trashy the spiritual beast was, as long as it fought with Zhen Youcai's spiritual beast. It was also 100% certainty. After the event, the sales volume of today's spiritual beast trading center was dozens of times higher than usual. He really didn't know if today was a day of great disaster for the spirit beast trading center, a day of great fortune, or a day of great miracle. Chu Yang walked out of the trading area and was about to go back when he suddenly heard a sneer and a voice called out, "It's this small one. Stop him for this young master." Whoosh. Suddenly, a group of people surrounded him. Chu Yang was stunned. Who did I offend this time? That can't be. When I first came here, I didn't know more than 10 people. When I was in the men's hall, there was no business. Either that or they were trying to save someone. I could only lose in the casino. Today was the first time I came out to spend money. Why did they come looking for me again? Could it be that this heavenly song is really my nemesis? Everything was going wrong? The crowd parted and a few boys and girls walked out. Their faces were full of arrogance as they looked at Chu Yang. One of them said with a complacent smile, "Little one, don't worry. You didn't expect this, did you? Mountains and rivers will meet again, we have met again. Weren't you quite arrogant before? Are you good at shouting? Why don't you try shouting again?" Chu Yang instantly understood. It turned out to be the boys and girls who were choosing spirit beasts inside just now. When Chu Yang shouted with his cultivation just now, the 5 of them were scared out of their wits and ran away. They came back to find trouble. This time Zhen Youcai is in trouble. No matter how much money he has, he can't fight with forces like the Jin clan, Wu clan, and Li clan of Xixia City. He actually provoked the most foppish people in one go and even added a girl. These 3 guys are not to be trifled with. Look at this time. Zhen Youcai is going to lose a lot of money. The onlookers whispered. Chu Yang didn't reveal anything and he listened carefully. For a moment he didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Just to shout at you, is there a need to make such a big fuss and come looking for trouble? Chu Yang snorted and said, "What? Old Roar, you guys think highly of you and you're not happy? Do you want to lose a lot of money to me before you give up?" This sentence was obviously taken out of context by Chu Yang. He changed the concept of the troublemakers and twisted the direction. Foppish people weren't scary, but foppish people were. And these people in front of him could be seen through at a glance. They were definitely the kind who couldn't take this kind of anger. They had no self-restraint and were impatient. Chu Yang was absolutely sure that he could play them in the palm of his hand with a few words. As for killing them, Chu Yang was still reluctant. Because these people in front of him were all sources of wealth, rolling in wealth. Jin Xingxin smiled cruelly. "Lose money to you? What are you dreaming about? See if I don't tear you apart alive." Behind him, a martial artist reminded him in a low voice, "Fifth Duke, this person is the money spreader Zhen Youcai. He has lost a lot of money in this period of time, no less than 10 million. But his expression didn't change at all. Many people have guessed that he is very likely to be the young duke of some big corporation. Now many people are aiming to bet with him on spirit beasts. Being able to bet with him is equivalent to a windfall from the sky. Oh? It's him? Jin Xingxin's eyes suddenly lit up. Although he himself was a foppish person, he could not know the name of a super foppish person like Zhen Youcai. That was a guy who was far more prodigal than himself. So Jin Xingxin changed his mind instantly. No one would dislike a windfall that fell from the sky. Then he whispered a few words to the few people around him. He saw the other 2 nodding excitedly. Their faces showed a wretched smile of blessing from the heavens. Obviously, they agreed with Jin Xingxin's decision. Although they were from aristocratic families and were used to being domineering, they didn't have much pocket money in their hands. Perhaps it was a huge number for ordinary people, but for them, it was often a little hard to make ends meet. At this moment, they were lucky enough to meet a super rich person like Zhen Youcai who was also super prodigal. It was like a pie falling from the sky. After all, it was very difficult to meet a fool with a lot of money. So the attitude of Jin Xingxin and the others immediately changed 180 degrees. Wasn't it just being yelled at? How big of a deal was it? This time they were just here to look for some face. If they could get millions, tens of millions, or even hundreds of millions just because of this yelling, then why not? So Duke Jin's tone changed immediately. "Lose money to you? You're daydreaming, huh? It's daytime now, it's really a good time to daydream. When night comes, you won't have any daydreams to daydream. The chances of you losing to me are probably higher." Great, he immediately acted according to Chu Yang's script. Do you think Chu Yang's luck is good? Or good? Or good? Chu Yang was happy in his heart. He laughed arrogantly, showing his super prodigal character. "I will lose to you? I'm daydreaming. If it was before, there would be some possibility. But now I already have my own spirit beast. A super invincible spirit beast. Then he patted Brother Tiger's head insolently and said loudly, with this new partner of mine. From now on I will only win money and not lose. Invincible Tiger. Big Brother Tiger grunted contentedly, indicating that he liked to hear those words. What a good invincible tiger. Just based on these words, this big brother had a lot of foresight and knowledge. In an instant, the people on the opposite side also saw Chu Yang's spirit beast clearly. Instantly they roared with laughter. Speaking of Brother Tiger, as long as one was a regular customer of the Spirit Beast Trading Center, almost all of them knew about him. Of course, who didn't know that this was a harmless guy? It seemed that this guy had been sitting in the Spirit Beast Trading Center for a long time and no one cared about him. It seemed that he wasn't even a spirit beast. Actually, they wanted to rely on him to win money? There was also Invincible Tiger. It seemed that this guy was only a little stronger than a cat, and that was because of his size. If one only looked at his laziness, he might not even be able to beat a cat. Since Duke Zhen wants to fight, then I will. As you wish, I'll bet with you. Jin Xingxin laughed. Tonight, in the Spirit Beast Trading Center, I'll let your spirit beast compete. As long as you win, whatever you yelled at me will be written off. Chu Yang said disdainfully, Bah, how can there be such an easy thing? Old Roar, I think highly of you, but you still have the nerve to bet? You really haven't seen the world, gambling with real swords and spears. Have you ever been a gambler? If I lose, I'll give you money. Isn't it just money? I have it. Jin Xingxin roared. Then how much is the bet? Chu Yang snorted. If it's too little, I won't be interested. Then how much do you want to bet? Jin Xingxin was even more excited. Say it, I'm not afraid of the bet being big, I'm only afraid that you won't bet. The more the better. The bigger the bet, the better. I'm going to be rich this time. I got Brother Tiger today. Invincible Tiger, victory is in my hands. At least 100. Chu Yang smiled. Purple cloud coins. Okay. Jin Xingxin was suddenly speechless. 100 purple cloud coins? It didn't seem like much, but when converted it was a whole 10 billion water cloud coins? Just for a bet? This was a bit too much. Although Jin Xingxin was the 5th master of the Jin clan, he really couldn't take out such a large sum of money by himself. You don't dare to bet? Chu Yang laughed. In that case, I won't keep you company. Think about it, you can find me at the Spirit Beast game field tonight. Laughing, Chu Yang took Brother Tiger. One man and one beast separated the crowd and left with majestic steps. Suddenly, a seemingly weak but very clear voice came. Bah, I thought some aristocratic master was so arrogant that he couldn't even take out such a small amount of money, wasting so much time. Forget it, not everyone can be like you. Let's go, Brother Tiger, let's go recharge and face the countless battles in the future in our best condition. Everyone looked at Brother Tiger behind Chu Yang, their eyes spitting fire. With this trashy spirit beast, any other spirit beast would have been able to win. But the problem was, they didn't have so much money to bet. This bastard Jin Yukai, why did he learn to be smart today? Chapter 1756. Fuck, it's a windfall, but you're a money rake. The crowd was depressed. 5th brother Jin, if you can make the decision, we can pool the money together. Wu Jiagong, Wu Xiaoshan hurried over. That's right, the 3 of us can pool the money together. Li Mingyu waved his fists. Even if I say shit, I can't be looked down upon by others. Especially by a nouveau riche. Novel chapters are the fastest to update. Jin Xingxin's face was gloomy as he said angrily, No need, no need. I thank everyone for your help, but I alone am enough to deal with him. I don't want everyone to take the risk. How dare he look down on me? He's courting death. If I don't make him bankrupt this time, he won't be able to survive in Xixia City anymore. With that, he left in a huff, seemingly in a huff. The remaining 2 people snorted at the same time. Acting cool? If you want to keep it all to yourself, then keep it to yourself. Why do you have to pretend to be so righteous? You're actually worried about us taking the risk? How can you be so kind-hearted? Who doesn't want to help you? You think we really want to help you? We just want a share of the profits. As long as it's a person, even an idiot would think that he would win this time. How could Jin Xingxin agree to let others pool the money together? I guess Jin Xingxin went home to get the money? What should we do? Li Mingyue was clearly very unwilling to let the 30 purple coins that were almost in her hands slip away just like that. This amount was really not small. 3 years of pocket money was not even that much. There's no other way? Wu Xiaoshan sighed. The only hope is that Jin Xingxin loses, then the two of us can take action. If he wins this battle, even if we continue to gamble with him, we can only win a small amount of money. You still expect that beast to win? How can he win? Me too, don't you think there's a chance? Damn you, Jin Xingxin. You're a selfish man. The two of them cursed loudly. Seeing that such a great opportunity to make money was about to slip through their fingers, the resentment in their stomachs was about to explode to the sky. Along the way, Chu Yang's bad luck seems to have disappeared. He had just accepted Brother Tiger as his disciple, and Brother Tiger's disciple, Brother Tiger's disciple, Brother Tiger's disciple. Then someone rushed over to deliver the money. If this wasn't good luck, then what was? Wasn't this what the heavens wanted? Brother Hu, you're my lucky one. May I ask, where did you come from? Why are you lingering here? Chu Yang asked. About that, I actually sensed a very familiar aura about 20 days ago. That's why I traveled 21,500 kilometers to get here. In the end, I came here and spent an entire day looking for you. I didn't expect to meet you, Tiger said casually. However, there was a hint of melancholy in his voice. Chu Yang was startled. 203,000 li? A whole day of Xian? Brother Hu? Even in the Double Heavens continent, even with Chu Yang's current cultivation, it would take him less than a day. Even if he rushed with all his might, he would not be able to complete 10,000 li, let alone in the Double Heavens Imperial Court. Moreover, it was 21,500 li? Yet, Brother Hu only used one day to walk 21,500 li in the Double Heavens Imperial Court. And he even strolled over. How many planes of restriction did he pass through? How many plates did he pass through? With Brother Hu's speed, he would have chosen to pass through in a straight line. But passing through in a straight line. 21,500 li. What a huge number. An entire day. How could it be so fucking long? Chu Yang felt a little dizzy from the dizziness. What, did you sense the aura? Chu Yang asked. Isn't it the aura of your sword? Tiger said melancholy. At first I thought it was. Halfway through its sentence it suddenly stopped. He wanted to say something but stopped. He let out a long, sad sigh. The aura of this sword? Chu Yang was a little puzzled. Does this sword have an aura unique to it? The Calamity Sword was a magical item. Chu Yang was already aware of this. However, he did not understand. Or rather, he did not understand. Did this sword still carry some kind of unique aura? Don't doubt it, don't doubt it. It's an aura unique to the world. Brother Hu's voice became solemn, respectful, and admiring. This kind of aura, in the entire Heaven Imperial Court, in the entire universe, he is definitely the second person in the world who has this kind of aura. Oh, who is that person? Chu Yang was shocked. He thought of the person who gave the black-yellow divine fruit to Zhan Zhan. This person is my benefactor. Tears dripped from Tiger's eyes. He was extremely sad. It's a pity that my abilities are too weak. I know that I'm not worthy to be by his side. If my abilities were 30, 50, 70, 80 times stronger, perhaps. Cough, cough, cough. Chu Yang coughed. You know that you're not worthy to be by his side, so you reluctantly follow me. Chu Yang was like a piece of trash to him. Humph, if it wasn't for this sword, if it wasn't for that person's aura, do you think I'd choose to follow you? Not to mention acknowledging you as my big brother. Go and be happy. Tiger rolled his eyes in disdain. I'll endure. I'll endure. I'll endure. Chu Yang swallowed his saliva and interrupted Brother Tiger. I say, that person also called you Brother Tiger? Tiger immediately became embarrassed and said, how am I worthy? Speaking of which, he was the one who gave me my name. From then on, other than him, no one else is allowed to call me by my name. Chu Yang was very interested. He gave you a name? His name? Little Z. Tiger said proudly. Little Z. Chu Yang shuddered and suddenly thought of Zi Xieching, whom he hadn't seen for a long time. Suddenly, a strange feeling rose in his heart. He hurriedly said, stop, your name has a history. Then I'll call you Tiger. Little Z. I really can't call you that. If I really do, I'm afraid I'll be torn to pieces, Tiger said disdainfully. I also didn't intend to let you call me that. Do you think you're worthy? At least you know your place. Remember to call me Big Brother Hu. Big Brother Hu will protect you. Chu Yang was so angry that his stomach was full of shit. I say, then are you a spirit beast of Shmi level? Chu Yang asked hopefully. Such a spirit beast. A powerful existence that could easily traverse 213,000 miles in a day. Was it heaven level? Or saint level? According to Chu Yang's guess, it was definitely saint level. But Tiger's answer made Chu Yang break down. I'm not a spirit beast. Do I look like a spirit beast to you? Your shmi eyes? Not only is your cultivation trashy, even your eyesight is bad. Tiger grinned. Not a spirit beast. Chuyang staggered. The sword spirit who was in the space of tribulation added, I told you you're not a spirit beast. My eyesight can't be wrong. I'm a Shen beast. Tiger said proudly, spirit beasts are nothing in my eyes. Shen beast? Shen beast is a Shmi level existence? Shmi level? Shmi level? Chuyang was completely dizzy. How did another Shen beast appear out of the blue? Shen beast is a very powerful existence. Extremely powerful. Tiger said proudly, as far as I know, I'm the only Shen beast on this Shmi level. Only I'm a Shen beast. Chuyang was speechless. Sighed the space I was in at the beginning. One day Arun shattered. Using the energy my benefactor gave me, I wrapped myself in it and was lucky enough to escape. I drifted in the space turbulence for who knows how many years before I finally arrived here. Brother Who said in a sorrowful voice, my once heaven-defying cultivation is now almost completely destroyed. Ah. Black lines appeared on Chu Yang's forehead. What did he mean by that? Almost completely destroyed, didn't that mean? If I can find my benefactor, I will definitely be able to recover quickly. But if I can't? Sigh with just you. Brother Tiger looked at Chu Yang and said, I really don't know how long it will take for me to recover my strength. You're seriously injured? Chu Yang was completely stunned. Nonsense, if I wasn't injured, would you have signed a contract with me? With your cultivation humph. Tiger growled in a low voice. Then. Chu Yang said speechlessly, I'll take the liberty to ask, can you beat other spirit beasts? For example, the ones in the trading center? If I can't beat them, I'm really going to lose everything. Are you insulting me? Looking down on me? That's a blatant suspicion. You're so ignorant. How can you judge the great Brother Tiger's strength? Brother Tiger was enraged, just based on their strength? I can defeat them with a fart. Then can you beat Earth-grade spirit beasts? Chu Yang asked fearlessly. You're insulting me. Tiger continued to rage, just Earth-grade spirit beasts? Then, can you beat Heaven-grade spirit beasts? Get lost. I'm going to die from anger, just Heaven-grade spirit beast. Tiger was so angry that he was foaming at the mouth. Then can you beat Saint-grade spirit beasts? Chu Yang was even more excited. Nonsense. Of course I can. Tiger was full of confidence. Then I'm relieved. Chu Yang could finally let out a long sigh of relief. No matter what. As long as he could earn money, I'm talking about my peak strength. Tiger suddenly felt a little embarrassed. When I was at my peak, the so-called Saint-grade spirit beast here, I could send them flying with a slap. Chu Yang immediately sensed something amiss. What about now? Now? Tiger hung his head dejectedly. Now they can send me flying with a slap. Fuck. Chu Yang cursed angrily. But at least there was some comfort. He could beat Heaven-grade spirit beast. Yes, YJNG was not bad. Along the way, Chu Yang asked Tiger cautiously, Brother Tiger, are you willing to fight with them? Tiger was startled. He stopped and turned his head to look at Chu Yang. There was a re-evaluation in his eyes. From this sentence, it was very obvious that it hurt a kind of respect. He respected ZJ's choice. Chapter 1757. If I say no, what will you do? Brother Tiger asked solemnly. Baidu Search School Library P. OM, then I will think of another way. Chu Yang smiled calmly and said, money does not have to come from here. What? Brother Tiger asked strangely. He did not realize that in these words, there was a strange emotion that he had not felt for a long time. He lowered his head, not letting Chu Yang see the hope in his eyes. But only he knew in his heart that he was waiting for an answer. What do you mean by why? Chu Yang said strangely, because you are different from those spirit beasts in the spirit beast arena. You are now my partner. We have just signed a partnership contract, don't you know? Brother Tiger did not speak. Since we are partners, of course I have to respect your choice. Chu Yang said, if you do not agree to fight with these low-level spirit beasts, then what is the point of me forcing you? Partners are not subordinates, nor are they slaves. They are not things that I can order around. We have to discuss everything. You are very clear on this point, why are you still asking why? Brother Tiger lowered his head and his throat made some noises. After a long time he said in a low voice that was almost inaudible, actually, I also want to go to the beast arena for a while, to fight a few rounds. It is just for some memories in my heart. He said these words very softly and vaguely. Yang did not hear him clearly. He asked, "What did you say?" Brother Tiger suddenly raised his head and laughed. "Of course I want to go. Ah. Playing the pig to eat the tiger, I love it the most. Every time I see those fellows who think they can eat me suddenly feel that they have hit the nail on the head, and their eyes reveal a look of disbelief before they die, my heart is as sweet as eating honey." Ah. A burst of wild laughter. Yang's face was full of black lines. "This guy. He is actually as sinister as me. That's good. Let's play the pig to eat the tiger together." Brr. Meow. One man and one beast continued to walk. Yang thought in his heart, "Brother Tiger seems to have something on his mind, or is he feeling something? I feel that he is not very happy. What? I have to think of a way to make it happy." Brother Tiger thought in his heart, This Yang is really not bad. Just because of this respect, my intentions are not in vain. Hey benefactor, where are you? She really missed that short reunion." Yang circled around and came to a secluded place. Then he quietly changed his appearance. Then he completely ignored Tiger's objections and forced it to return to its original size, the size of a palm, and put it in his arms. He hurried back to the men's hall. At this moment, Fishy was completely flustered. Teacher Cat was extremely depressed. He had been meditating in his room with a heavy heart, but he couldn't calm his heart down. He walked around the courtyard uneasily. He hadn't even walked around twice when a person suddenly fell from the sky. Very accurately and heavily, it landed on the cat teacher's head. "What the hell? Meow meow, it hurts so much. Who the hell is attacking me? You're pissing me off, meow." She actually didn't notice it in advance. Moreover, a big bruise appeared on the cat's head after being hit by that person. This time it actually looked like a unicorn. "I'm going to fight it out with you, meow." Teacher Cat was knocked unconscious for a long time before he got up. Just as he was about to get angry, he found that the person who fell from the sky didn't need to fight anymore. At this moment he was already bleeding from all 7 orifices and unconscious. His face was as pale as paper. He was on the verge of death. His life was in danger. He was about to die. This instantly extinguished the fishy anger that soared to the sky. He tried to kick him twice, but there was no reaction at all. With his experience and eyesight, he could see that this person was really injured and dying. Moreover, it was very likely that he would be completely finished soon. This is the biggest joke in the world, the Tang dynasty of the world. Meow. Teacher Cat cursed. There is actually such a suicidal attack from the sky. Cursing was just cursing. Teacher Mao still held his nose and carried the guy who fell from the sky into the room. This was Teacher Cat. If it was anyone else, even if they didn't immediately stab this guy, they would at least throw him far away. After all, a dead person meant trouble, and a seriously injured person was even more troublesome. However, Teacher Cat still had the style of an ancient person. To help those in distress, he drew his sword to help. First, he tried to straighten the guy's bones. Teacher Cat found that something was wrong. This guy almost broke his own bones, but he didn't seem to be hurt at all. His bones didn't even seem to be slightly dislocated. "What a tough guy," Teacher Cat sighed. Teacher Cat had the spirit of saving the dying and helping the injured. He transferred his own cultivation to this guy to help him heal. However, he found that this person's meridians were like a bottomless pit. After he transferred his cultivation, there was no reaction at all. According to Teacher Cat's judgment, based on the current situation, even if he drained himself dry and died of exhaustion, this person might not wake up. Damn it! What kind of person is this? Teacher Cat stopped and didn't dare to act rashly. In desperation, he could only feed this guy a healing pill. However, Teacher Cat knew that this pill was completely inadequate. In the current situation, he could only hope that Yang would return and this guy would still be alive. If this guy couldn't hold on, Teacher Cat was afraid that he wouldn't even have the strength to help him wait. Fortunately, even though this fellow was seriously injured and looked like he could not catch his breath and could die at any time, his vitality was abnormally strong. Although the last bit of fire in his heart was faint, it would not be extinguished. It was like a candle in the wind, swaying and swaying. It was clearly dim, but it would not be extinguished. His will to live is really amazing. Teacher Cat sighed in admiration. Every now and then Teacher Cat would run out to take a look. After a while he would run out again. Finally Yang returned. "You're back." Teacher Cat anxiously waited. "What's wrong?" Yang was puzzled. "What else can I do with you?" "Save someone." Teacher Cat pulled Yang away. "Save someone?" Yang stopped before he could finish his sentence. That was because he had already seen the person he needed to save. "What's the matter with this guy? I don't know what happened exactly. I was strolling in the courtyard and then, with a bang, this person fell on my head. I fell down with a bang. When I got up, I found that this guy was seriously injured. Teacher Cat pointed. Stop. Chu Yang decisively raised his hand. He interrupted Teacher Cat's narration. This was because Chu Yang realized that Teacher Cat was definitely not a talented storyteller. In his narration there was definitely enough suspense. However, the problem was, the person listening to the story didn't seem to understand anything. This was because there was no process at all. There was no sequence of events. Staring at Teacher Cat for a while, Chu Yang sighed helplessly. Please, shut up for a while. I have to save someone first. Meow? Teacher Cat silently endured. He only let out a low and soft growl to express his faint dissatisfaction. Chu Yang immediately went into a busy treatment. However, Teacher Cat's last sentence caused a huge uproar. Chu Yang was holding a small cat in his hand. The cat, which was only the size of a fist, scurried into the cat teacher's arms and looked up with widened eyes. Looking at Teacher Cat, it said with an expression of meeting an old friend in a foreign land, "Meow?" Teacher Cat almost jumped up. He looked at the little guy in his arms in horror. His lips trembled as he said, "Meow? You know how to meow too?" Brother Tiger used one of its front paws to pull at his beard. Then it reached out to grab Teacher Cat's beard and pulled, "Meow?" Teacher Cat angrily hit Brother Tiger's paw away and roared, "Meow!" Brother Tiger lowered its head as if it had been frightened by a certain cat. Teacher Cat stroked his beard proudly. Brother Tiger's voice sounded in Chu Yang's mind, "You big cat in human form, you're an idiot." Chu Yang was startled by these words. A burst of unbearable laughter arose. His hand paused and his whole body trembled. An incomplete version of the heavy pill was cut in half and the two pieces fell into the mouth of the guy on the bed. "Aw!" Minister Chu went crazy. "My medicine! My peerless elixir, you two wastrels who can't do anything right." Teacher Cat and Brother Tiger turned their heads at the same time and asked, "Meow?" Even if it wasn't because of the idiotic conversation between the two cats, Chu Yang was still angry. Where in the world did a certain cat master get this special patient from? It seemed to have fallen from the sky? There were people who dropped pies and discus from the sky. There were also people who fell into traps and so on, and even beautiful women. However, he had never heard of anyone who was seriously injured. Moreover, the person in front of him was seriously injured. If it was just a serious injury, Chu Yang would have accepted it. He could have taken him down with some effort and wasted some elixirs. However, this person was too strange. Take note, it wasn't the injury that was strange, but the person that was strange. His internal organs were not damaged, his divine sense was not damaged, and his meridians were unusually wide and unobstructed. Even a heaven-level expert like a certain cat wouldn't have such a good physique. However, his vitality was not enough and he was about to die. He could die at any time. This was the first time Chu Yang had seen such a strange injury. Chu Yang judged that even the incomplete version of the heavy pill might not be effective. Therefore he decided to only use half a pill to try. It would be good if he could be saved, but even if he couldn't, he would have done his best. It would be enough to answer to a certain cat. In the end, he was amused by the cat and the beast's words and his hand trembled. The incomplete version of the heavy pill melted in his mouth and instantly turned into surging vitality. Chu Yang sighed. It was destined to be wasted. Then he turned to ask Shifty Cat, "Teacher Cat, who is this person? Your friend?" Shifty Cat was tongue-tied. "What friend? How would I know who he is?" Chapter 1758. Chu Yang almost vomited blood. "What? You mean you don't know who this person is? You don't even know him and you want me to save him? Do you know?" Teacher Cat looked at Chu Yang with bright eyes. "Saving the dying and healing the injured is the heart of a doctor. You're a doctor, don't you know this? I always thought you knew. That day, get lost." Minister Chu had heard the phrase, "A doctor has the heart of a parent," when he had been in the heavenly layer continent for 3 days. So he didn't hesitate to curse. Baidu Search School Library P. OM. Teacher Cat turned his head to look at Brother Tiger resentfully. Brother Tiger glared and scolded, "Meow." At this moment, a weak voice suddenly sounded, "Where is this place?" Chu Yang and Greasy Cat were stunned. They turned their heads and saw the person lying on the bed on the verge of death open his eyes. He tilted his head and looked at them. Actually, they shouldn't be surprised. Even if it was an incomplete version of the heavy pill, it was still a rare elixir. It had the miraculous effect of reviving life and death. That day, Teacher Cat was seriously injured and on the verge of death. He also relied on this elixir. The moment he took it, his almost fatal internal and external injuries were instantly healed by 70%. This person also took one. It would be strange if it didn't have any effect. But why was he still so weak? Could it be that this person's strength was above Teacher Cat's and that an incomplete version of the heavy pill wasn't enough to heal him completely? But as long as the time was short, he shouldn't be so weak. Besides, Chuyang clearly noticed that when he turned his head, deep in this person's eyes, there was a look of relief. He couldn't help but be startled. Does this guy know me? Is that possible? Impossible. This person seemed to be a young man. He was dressed in a black robe. He couldn't tell what material it was made of, but it faintly revealed a sense of mystery. Even though he was seriously injured, he still had a kind of arrogant and awe-inspiring aura. Although his appearance was ordinary, his face was sharp and angular. The moment he opened his eyes, he looked at Yi Zichen. The moment he opened his eyes, his originally zombie-like body seemed to be filled with the brilliance of life. His voice was weak and badly out of breath, but he was in such a situation. But in such a situation he still used the most coherent and calm tone to speak. It wasn't just to show off, but to protect his own dignity. This was a self-respecting, self-confident, self-reliant and conceited person. Chuyang and Fishy Guy had the same feeling at the same time. This person is probably not simple. Try not to be enemies. This is my pharmacy, Immense Hall. Chuyang looked into the young man's eyes and said, the temple that brings good news to all men. It specializes in curing my illness. Recently, Chuyang had been thinking about money like crazy. This time, he didn't forget to advertise himself. But who would advertise like that? What you said is indeed very infuriating. Do I have a disease? Haha. The young man smiled weakly and said, I also have a disease. Ah, not bad. Fishy laughed in praise. This sentence cleverly made the phrase, I'm sick, completely derogatory, and it was basically something that men could not say. It became grand and majestic, seamlessly connected from top to bottom. I also have an illness. Not only did he raise his status, but he also explained his illness. Yes, understood. I know you have a disease. Chuyang grinned and said, as long as I'm here and you're awake, you definitely won't die. You can rest assured. The young man smiled bitterly and said, may I ask, doctor, this injury of mine? When can I recover? Chuyang frowned and said, Your Excellency's injury is very strange. I'm still somewhat unsure. But you should know what kind of injury you've sustained. Therefore all I can do is to do my best and leave the rest to fate. As for when you'll recover, that's up to you. Do you understand what I'm saying? These words were confusing, incoherent, self-contradictory and standard words that deserved a beating. Teacher Cat, who was listening at the side, was embarrassed. Unexpectedly, the young man nodded with satisfaction and said, Not bad, not bad. As expected, you have the demeanor of a highly skilled doctor. I understand. Since you understand, then I'll be a good person to the end. As Chuyang busied himself, he took out a box made of purple crystal jade essence. Inside there was a purple needle. This was a needle made by Chuyang using souls of purple crystal. It was called the Soul Needle. This needle was very effective. It had the shocking effect of stabilizing the spirit, refining life, increasing vitality and consolidating one's foundation. And this was the effect of the Soul Needle itself. It didn't take medical skills into account. The young man's eyes lit up. He said weakly, It's actually the purple crystal soul needle? I didn't expect you to have such a good thing. Looks like I'm really saved this time. Chuyang's eyes lit up. You also know about the purple crystal soul needle? The young man said weakly, These amethyst soul needles are meticulously refined from souls of the amethyst. Every palm-sized piece of soul of the amethyst can only be refined into a single soul needle at most. The price is incomparably expensive. It's also blasphemous to say that it's priceless. It's really a priceless treasure. In the entire Heaven Imperial Court, there are no more than 10 sets of such divine needles. Most of them are in the hands of legendary divine doctors. I didn't expect you to have a complete set. I'm the lucky one. Chuyang chuckled. He didn't hesitate. With a flash of purple light, a soul needle had already pierced into the young man's chest. With a light flick, only 1/3 of the soul needle was exposed, and a cloud of purple gas swayed out. For a moment, even the needle couldn't be seen clearly. Greasy exclaimed, This needle. Wouldn't it go all the way into his internal organs? Wasn't he afraid of dying with one needle? A relieved smile appeared on the young man's face. He said, "One needle to determine life and death, yin and yang turning into two extremes. You have good acupuncture skills and great medical attainments." After the needle was inserted, there was a hint of vitality in his voice. Chu Yang pierced another needle into the young man's temple. Similarly, only the tip of the needle was left outside. With a light flick, purple light lingered. "Wonderful." The young man's brows didn't move. He praised, "A needle through the canopy straight to the center of gravity. Is the doctor using the legendary Heaven Saint Needle technique?" Chu Yang's eyes narrowed. He said, "Good knowledge and good endurance." Knowledge could be said. As for endurance, Chu Yang himself knew that this needle was the culmination of all the pain in the world. Using a kind of extreme pain to stimulate a person's vitality to quickly return. Then, this stimulated vitality gradually spread throughout the body to achieve the effect of further stimulating the human body's life potential. It looked like a light and delicate needle. But the pain caused by this needle was as terrifying as going through the 18 levels of hell. At this moment, the young man was already seriously injured and on the verge of death. Yet he was still suffering such inhumane pain. He didn't even frown. His mental endurance was amazing. Endurance? Haha. Soybean-sized beads of sweat seeped out of the young man's forehead, but his expression was calm. "I also want to cry out in pain. It's a little better, but I really can't afford to lose face." This sentence is well said. Chu Yang pierced the third needle. The position was actually in the dantian. He said casually, "May I know your name?" The young man exhaled. He said, "How can I not answer a doctor's inquiry? My surname is Yen Russian. A word is as heavy as a mountain. That's my name." After saying his name, he stared at Chu Yang and Shifty Guy with a somewhat sharp gaze. Chu Yang's face was indifferent. It was really indifferent. A certain king of hell only knew a limited number of people in this world. Unless you said you were Shui Leihan, it was really hard to find a name that could move him. Of course, this time, Chu Yang was actually secretly paying attention to Fishy's movements. Fishy shook his fat neck, his face full of self-satisfaction. If this fellow had heard this name, he would definitely jump up and shout, "So you are Yen Russian?" Since he didn't move, it meant that he didn't have any impression of him. In other words, he didn't know this person at all. Chu Yang sighed. Looks like this particular cat isn't just an ordinary ignorant cat. Looking at Yen Russian, that name should be quite famous. But Fishy didn't react at all, as if he had heard a pile of dung. Yen Russian felt a little tragic. The muscles on his face finally twitched a little. It wasn't because of pain, but because he felt a little incredulous. How ignorant are these two fellows? To think that they don't know the title of the #1 general of the Eastern Royal Heavenly Oath Division. In the Eastern Royal Heavens, such a person would be considered a miracle if there was even 1 in 10,000 people. He didn't expect to meet two of them today. Could it be the day of 10,000? "You have never heard of my name?" Yen Russian couldn't accept it and asked subconsciously. To be honest, he used to hope that these two people didn't know who he was. But now that his wish had come true, he really hoped that they didn't know who he was. No matter how high the level of existence was, there would always be vanity. "I really haven't heard of you." Chu Yang shook his head. "Do you think you are Shui Leihan? In the Eastern Royal Heavens, I only know of him." Yen Russian's face instantly darkened. "Damn it. Comparing that person to me, how can that be compared? In the Eastern Royal Heavens, if you don't even know who Shui Leihan is, you can just die. Besides, how can the name of the Eastern Royal Emperor be mentioned so often?" This doctor was really too daring and frivolous. "Indeed, I haven't heard of you before." He asked curiously, "Are you very famous? Maybe I'm just ignorant." Yen Russian closed his eyes and didn't speak anymore. If he spoke again, he was afraid that he would vomit blood and die the moment he opened his mouth. "Can you give me a bigger blow? Energy? Am I very famous? What nonsense are you talking about? You're just ignorant and ill-informed." Chu Yang laughed and continued to insert the needles. After the needles were completely inserted, the young man could clearly feel that his body was faintly gathering essence energy. This unexpected change made him almost wild with joy. Scapulohumeral periarthritis acted up. At night, I went for an extra unplanned acupuncture session. A brother recommended warm silver needles, but I asked and it seems that our Lai Wu doesn't have it. Chapter 1759. Yen Russian was still rejoicing when he heard Chu Yang say, "Brother Yen, I can guarantee that your life will not be in danger after this injection. You will also have a chance to recover your cultivation. I will concoct some medicine for you later. It should be useful after you drink it. Thank you, thank you. Yen Russian thanked him sincerely. It doesn't matter if you don't know my name. The most important thing is that you can cure me. If you don't have the ability to cure me with just my name, wouldn't that be more tragic? Don't be in such a hurry to thank me. Chu Yang raised his hand to interrupt him. I believe that Brother Yen is definitely an extraordinary person. At the very least, the flexibility and broadness of the meridians in Brother Yan's body, as well as the tyrannical and domineering heart protection elemental energy in your heart meridians, have already indicated Brother Yan's status. I have no intention of finding out about Brother Yan's background, and I have no intention of receiving any repayment from Brother Yen. However, I still have a request. Yen Russian said seriously, tell me, as long as it's within my capabilities. It's definitely within Brother Yan's capabilities. I hope that Brother Yen can leave this place quietly after your body recovers. That's all. Chu Yang smiled gently. Brother Yen is a wise man. I'm still weak, and it's not appropriate for me to be embroiled in the grudges of Brother Yen. Please forgive me. Yen Russian nodded in understanding. He couldn't hide the admiration in his eyes. Chu Yang's cautiousness and foresight could be seen from his words. With Yen Russian's cultivation and being from the pugilistic world, how could he have any enemies? How could the current Chu Yang afford to provoke someone who was qualified to be an enemy of Yen Russian's level? Even if it was just a little, he would be smashed into pieces. Yen Russian was naturally the first general of the Odes division who was brought down from the heavens by Chu Yang's oath. He was quite a tragic character. Chu Yang didn't know that Yen Russian's injury was caused by the joint efforts of Brother Hu and ZJ. Yen Russian also didn't know that the main culprit who caused Yen Russian's injury was the divine doctor who was receiving Yen Russian's gratitude. Yen Russian had his own matters to deal with. Although he was from the Odes division, Yen Russian had many enemies. News of Yen Russian's injury hadn't spread yet. It could guarantee a temporary safety. However, as long as this news spread out, it would easily cause a great storm. Perhaps, this entire Zixia city would be completely destroyed. Not to mention Chu Yang, who had once treated ZJ. I promise you. Yen Russian uttered these words with a pause between each and every one of his words. The #1 general of the Odes department knew the value of Odes more than anyone else. These 4 words. It was a promise to keep this secret for Chu Yang. At the same time, it also meant that even in front of Emperor Donghuang, Chu Yang's secret would not be revealed. Although Chu Yang had requested it, Yen Russian felt that keeping the secret meant letting the secret die in his heart forever. No matter who he faced, there was no exception. Chu Yang checked Yen Russian's body. Yen Russian's vitality was still too weak. This was actually how it should be. It wasn't that the heavy pill or the heavenly sage acupuncture technique wasn't effective. If it wasn't, it wouldn't be able to save his life. It was just that the amount of healing was insufficient. This was the difference between quality and quantity. The heavy pill and the heavenly sage acupuncture technique were of a high level, but the amount of healing was relatively insufficient. Yen Russian's cultivation was shocking. He was able to survive such a serious injury because his cultivation was too high. This caused the amount of vitality needed to recover to be ridiculously high. As a result, Chu Yang could only use 2 treasures to recover slightly. As a result, Yen Russian's life force was insufficient to support his natural recovery. If this carried on, his life force would be depleted. With this appraisal, Chu Yang pondered for a while and decided to be a good person to the end. He poured out 3 drops of the spring of life and fed them to Yen Russian. Once Yen Russian's lips touched the spring of life, he suddenly sat up. Even with such a serious injury, he was able to sit up like a zombie. Spring of life. It's actually the spring of life? Yen Russian's eyes were as big as bells. Shut up. Chu Yang scolded without giving him any face. Yen Russian fell down with a plop. The shock he felt at this moment was truly unparalleled. There was actually such a brilliant doctor in such a remote place. And this seemingly ordinary young man actually had so many good things in his hands. No wonder he made such a huge bet with that chubby Pongban the other day. So he was actually fearless? In his hands, not only did he have the miraculous medicine that could quickly restore one's elemental energy, but this medicine did not make one's elemental energy recover significantly. However, it did make one's elemental energy recover significantly. It was very impressive. And there was the priceless purple crystal spirit needle. And even the spring of life. That was the most precious treasure of the fairy race. It was something that had been extinct in the Heaven Palace for hundreds of thousands of years. Oh my God, At this moment, the #1 general of the Oath Division was truly shocked by Chu Yang's generosity. Chu Yang didn't care whether he was shocked or not. After packing up, he let him rest in the room while Chu Yang and Cat Face left. To be honest, Chu Yang really didn't want to reveal too many trump cards. If he did, it would weaken Chu Yang. But this time he had to do it. Firstly, this guy's injuries were too serious. Only heavy pills could extend his life. Only the heavenly sage needle technique could stimulate his vitality. Only the spring of life could save his life. Of course, these were the most important reasons. Secondly, it was because this guy was terrifyingly powerful. The most conservative estimate was that he was at least a saint-tier powerhouse. He might even be stronger than Duan Sankong at his peak. Forming a good relationship with him would definitely be beneficial in the future. Thirdly, this guy was righteous and worth saving. Of course, the most important thing was the promise that Yen Russian had made. His determination to mend the relationship between the two of them. This was a person who valued keeping a promise as much as his life. Chu Yang had always admired such people. Even if he couldn't get anything in return, he would still save him. I say, where did you get this pet? Cat Face looked at Brother Tiger in Chu Yang's arms and was a little envious. He has a newborn kitten. Chu Yang rolled his eyes and stroked Brother Tiger's back. Don't talk nonsense. This is my contracted spiritual beast. In all honesty, Chu Yang scolded Teacher Cat for his own good. If Brother Tiger bore a grudge against Cat Face, it wouldn't be good. Oh shit. You said shit? Cat Face jumped up. Oh my god, this is just an ordinary cat. You. Are you having a fever? Why did you take in such a trash as your contracted spiritual beast? Brother Hu's anger, which had just been appeased, rose again. He immediately stood up. He stared at Cat Face fiercely. His eyes flashed fiercely and he looked like he was about to hit Cat Face with his claws. At the same time, Brother Tiger's voice rang in Chu Yang's mind. It sounded like he was gnashing his teeth. I want to turn this human-shaped cat into my feces. Calm down. With your status as a shit, it's not worth getting angry with a human-shaped cat. Chu Yang hurriedly comforted him. He turned to Cat Face and said, You don't look too good this morning. Did something happen to you? Cat Face's attention was immediately diverted. He sighed deeply and said, I've contacted the clan. That's a good thing. Doesn't that mean you have a way home? Chu Yang was surprised. Then why are you frowning? Of course it's a good thing. But the problem now is, the person who received my message is a crazy person. Cat Face was full of bitterness. After she received my message, she said that she wanted to help me. She even told the clan that she wanted to take revenge for me. The first thing she did was to come here alone. What? Chu Yang was shocked. The Wolf clan's defense outside is so tight. She came here alone? Did she come here to shit me? Is she playing with her life? Or is she looking for death? I think he's most likely courting death. Isn't that so? She's a very violent person. Cat Face said with melancholy. She's also very barbaric, very domineering, very unreasonable. Very irritable. She's a very unreasonable existence. Who is she? Chu Yang asked carefully. After listening to this long description, Chu Yang immediately knew that a storm was coming. It seems like this person is very scary. Even a certain cat with thick nerves would be afraid of this person. She must be a very powerful person. Could she be the Cat Clan's #1 god of war, #1 warrior? That person is my fiancée. Her eyes were filled with tears as she said those sorrowful words. She said weakly, I can clearly feel that I won't have any freedom in the future. But I don't have the strength to resist. Life is like being. Since I can't resist, I can only accept it. Meow. Chu Yang and Brother Tiger straightened their necks at the same time. One man and one beast stared at each other like cute lion-headed goldfish. Shifty covered his face with his hands. In a few days that scary woman will come. Sob, whenever I think about this, I feel like I have nothing left to live for. There will be no more light in the future. That will be a time darker than darkness, and it will fill the rest of my life. I can't even beat her. Her father is the #1 expert of the Cat Clan. Cat Face became more and more sad as she spoke. Her tail drooped. Her voice was also a little choked. How can a small arm win against a big leg? Woo. Chu Yang and Brother Tiger were speechless. They looked at each other and were completely stunned by the situation in front of them. Cat Face pleaded sorrowfully. Chu Yang, you will save me? You will save me, right? Chu Yang stood up decisively and ran out of the room at the speed of a 100-meter sprint. His speed was the fastest in his life. Meow. The fur on Brother Tiger's body stood up, and he instantly turned into a shooting star, disappearing from the room in an instant. Brother Tiger's furry head was dripping with cold sweat. Too close, too close. What if this guy packed up a female cat and gave it to me? What should I do? Can I still live? One had to admit that Brother Tiger was still very worried. Chapter 1760. That night, the person who was supposed to treat my illness did not come as scheduled. It was rare that he was not here. As for the invincible blade, Duan Sankong, he was busy getting the medicine. Of course he could not come, so, today was a rare work break. Chuyang walked out with Brother Tiger in his arms. Greasy Face was still moaning and groaning in his room. What should I do? She's coming. Should I surrender to the Wolf clan to avoid this destined enemy from my previous life, a nightmare that I can't avoid in this life? When he went outside, Chuyang naturally had to change his appearance. Zhen Yukai suddenly reappeared in the world. Behind him was Brother Tiger, who was more than 30 feet tall and walked with majestic steps. One man and one beast, valiant and high-spirited, their eyes shining with golden light as they walked toward the Spirit Beast gaming field. Brother Tiger sighed as he walked. Back then, my benefactor went to the beast fighting arena. He also changed his appearance. Today, this big brother that I just met also changed his appearance. They both had the intention of eating the pig to eat the tiger and making a fortune. As the saying goes, a tough life needs no elaboration, but it's so similar. For a moment, it was as if time went back. Brother Tiger could not help but meow a few times. He could not suppress the nostalgia in his heart and almost burst into tears. I miss you so much. Benefactor, where are you now? I miss you so much. Little Z misses you so much. Chuyang had just entered, and before he could buy today's ticket, he saw someone coming up to him. Master Zhen is here. Jin Wugong has already bought your ticket for today and specially instructed us to bring you there as soon as you come. Oh yes, he also asked us to tell you that he is ready and waiting for your arrival. Chuyang suddenly smiled. This Jin Wugong was really a little impatient, but he was still too inexperienced. Didn't he know that the pie that fell from the sky was usually a discus? You're ready? Are you already prepared to lose to me? Was he that impatient? Ah. Chuyang laughed wildly and swaggered in with Brother Tiger. His demeanor was the same as a few days ago, as if he was about to start a massacre in all directions. Under the guidance of the manager, Chuyang walked through a side door and unexpectedly found that although this relatively hidden beast fighting arena was not very big, it was extremely exquisite. Here. This was a high-class coliseum specially prepared for the rich and powerful. A real place to buy gold. Inside there were many individual booths. They were high up in the air, and right below them was an arena. They were surrounded by a thin silver net. Every 10 steps there was a person standing there. This silver thread was the heaven snare unique to the heaven-level imperial court. Even a heaven-level low-grade spiritual beast would not be able to tear it apart. As for rushing out, that was even more impossible. Not to mention, every 10 steps, there would be at least a human-level warrior watching them just in case anything went wrong. Even if something unexpected were to happen, these experts would definitely not allow the spirit beast to cause any damage. Even with Chuyang's picky eyes, one had to admit that such an arrangement was indeed close to flawless. There was a row of railings at the entrance of every private room, and on the railings there were even hawk-eye sleeves. Setting up these eagle-eye sleeves naturally made it convenient for the distinguished guests in the box to see everything in the beast fighting coliseum from multiple angles. Rows and rows of graceful white-clothed girls were shuttling back and forth. They served tea, pastries, and wine to the distinguished guests in the box. The whole place, before the spirit beast started fighting, it was actually filled with a kind of soft and gentle aura that belonged to a young girl. This place is well decorated. It's grand and classy. It's very suitable for my identity. Just as Chuyang exclaimed in admiration, he saw the eyes of all the people in the private rooms turn towards him at the same time. Of course, most of their gazes were on Brother Hu. Then one by one they nodded their heads. The atmosphere of the place suddenly became lively. Perhaps the word lively was not enough to describe it. It was simply fiery. Zhen Yukai, let me make this bet with you. Zhen Yukai, I'll play with you this time. Zhen Yukai, I'll bet with you. Let's decide the winner and loser. Zhen Yukai, you're really too talented, haha. Jin Xingxin, the 5th Duke of Jin, walked out from the big box in the center. He looked at Chuyang and said with a smile, Brother Zhen is indeed a trustworthy person. I'll be here as scheduled. Seeing that someone was going to pick the peach first, how could Jin Xingxin not stand up to defend his sovereignty? His words made it clear. This Zhen Yukai has a bet with me. The rest of you go to the back and line up. Of course, the premise is that I still have money to deal with you after betting with me. Chu Yang smiled and nodded. Since Jin Xingxin has an appointment, Zhen Yukai will definitely come. Especially since Jin Xingxin is so rich. Tonight I'll show off my strength. Ha! Everyone laughed together. In this spirit beasts fighting arena, the discussion was always about the spirit beasts and who won and who lost. All the other grudges outside had come to a complete stop here. But it was hard to say whether they were laughing at Jin Xingxin or at Zhen Yukai for overestimating his own strength. Where's that Arii? Chu Yang turned his head and asked, call him here. He was the one who introduced me to buy spirit beasts. Why is he still missing when I'm ready to start winning? I still want to reward him after winning. The manager next to him smiled bitterly and said in a low voice, Master Zhen? Arii has had a stomachache these days. Chu Yang was stunned. This time a certain king of hell really wanted to reward Arii. He wasn't just talking. Arii definitely wouldn't have a stomachache so coincidentally. Besides, if there was really money to be won, what's a stomachache? It must be because he actually chose such a trash spirit beast to fight. If he continued to compete, he might lose all his money. How could he expect to get a reward from him? What if he lost and blamed it on himself? Wouldn't that be the end of his life? He would die an unjust death. Therefore, Erhei would rather die than come to save his own skin. Only then did the people around know that this Zhen Yukai actually went to the trading arena because of the recommendation of the casino staff. They couldn't help but laugh again. He actually chose to use such a trash spirit beast to gamble because he believed the words of a casino staff. This Zhen Yukai is really talented. Jin Xingxin laughed proudly. Arii, I'll reward him heavily when I win. Since Master Jin has said so, I won't reward him if I win. Chu Yang laughed proudly as well. Why do you all have a private room except for me? Hurry up and give me a private room. Chu Yang shouted. A private room? The manager's face twitched. He thought that Chu Yang might lose all his money after tonight. He probably won't have a chance to come here in the future, but he still wants a private room. Master Zhen, our private rooms here cost about 5,000 purple cloud coins and are reserved for a year. The larger rooms cost 1 purple cloud coin, and the time limit is also 1 year. Before he finished, Chu Yang had already shouted, Nonsense, of course I want a bigger one. With a flick of his hand, a purple cloud coin flew into the air with a hazy and enchanting color. It rolled back and forth in the air, leaving behind a hazy and brilliant neon light. Good. How generous. Countless people around him cheered. Just by looking at the hazy luster, one could tell that it was a genuine purple cloud coin. Everyone cheered. No one would reject it. After all, for this kind of nouveau riche, as long as you had money, you could just sit here. Once you won all of your money, your private room would naturally be gone. No matter how awesome a nouveau riche was, it was impossible for him to win against a rich and powerful clan. Moreover, he was an outsider. He didn't seem to be a strong dragon. Every day there would be a few private rooms with good seats in the game field, especially for people like Zhen Yukai who didn't know the immensity of heaven and earth. Good. The manager caught the purple cloud coin and smiled like a flower. I'll arrange it for Master Zhen right away. I wish Master Zhen a great victory and a great victory. It didn't take long for Chu Yang's private room to be arranged. The location, view, and height were all excellent. Chu Yang was also very satisfied with this. After he entered, a maid immediately served him tea. Chu Yang drank the tea and casually crossed his legs. One of his big feet was swinging in the air, swinging, swinging, swinging. Even though he was wearing leather boots, the irrepressible foot odor was still diffusing. It floated in the air. The two maids who were assigned to this private room frowned slightly. They had seen many nouveau riches, but they had never seen one like this. Looking at this person's appearance and posture, they wondered if he hadn't washed his feet for many years. Such a person actually made a fortune? The heavens were really blind. Chu Yang was actually very speechless about this. He had already developed the good habit of washing his feet every night, but he still couldn't get rid of that damn foot odor. As long as he took off his shoes, the strong salted fish smell would fly up to 300 miles with the wind, lingering for 3 months. Chu Yang was also completely helpless about this. Looking at the two maids, he said somewhat apologetically, Cough cough, you two beauties should be content. Look, everyone else in this private room has taken off their shoes, only I haven't. I'm still very cultured. The two maids expressed their gratitude but cursed in their hearts. Luckily you're cultured. You're already like this even without taking off your shoes. If you took off your shoes, there would probably be no one in this game field. Outside, Jin Wugong actually didn't rush him. Chu Yang was very surprised by this and looked outside. Chapter 1761. Where did they go? Chu Yang asked curiously. Master Zhen, that's where the bets are placed. They all went there to place their bets. A maid answered respectfully. He was very professional. After all, not everyone could withstand the stench that assailed their nostrils. Bets outside. Chu Yang's eyes instantly turned into the color of purple cloud coins. What are the odds now? Who's the banker? Is it stable? The so-called stable referred to the banker's reputation and financial resources. If the banker ran away or had no money to pay, it would be boring. This time, Third Master Jin is the banker. He's the oldest banker here. He has never defaulted. The maid replied, now the odds are 30. 1 for those who bet on Fifth Master Jin winning. What about those who bet on me winning? Everyone is rushing to buy it, right? Chu Yang asked excitedly. Those who bet on you winning. The maid curled her lips. She thought that no one would bet on him except for those who were kicked in the head by a donkey. She still answered, those who bet on you winning, the odds are 150. 150? So high. It can't be, right? Chu Yang stood up. Doesn't that mean that if I bet 100 million, I'll get 5 billion if I win? A total of 1 billion. The maid resisted the absurd laughter in her heart. I'll return it along with your bet. That's great. Chu Yang clapped his hands excitedly. I must participate in such an opportunity to make a fortune. If I win, I'll give you a bonus. Then he ran out of the box excitedly. As soon as Chu Yang went out, the two maids hurriedly rolled up the curtain and fanned themselves. It didn't matter whether they got a bonus or not. The most important thing was that they couldn't stand the stench of feet. They had to fan the stench out. The maids were really suffocating. Chu Yang ran out with a gust of wind. Everyone was startled. Have you finished betting? Chu Yang asked hurriedly. Old people also want to bet. Third Master Jin saw that no one had bet on Zhen Yukai winning. He was about to announce the cancellation of the bets. Bets. What kind of gamble was this? Do you want the Zhuang family to suffer a huge loss? Lord Jin, do you want to bet as well? Seeing Zhen Youcai's sudden arrival, Third Master Jin felt as if a pie had fallen from the sky. He was truly overjoyed. Of course, Chu Yang said. Lord Jin, gambling has its own rules. If both parties want to bet, they can only bet on their own victory. Do you understand this? Third Master Jin asked. Third Master Jin wasn't making this up. There was indeed such a rule. He didn't even encourage both parties to bet on other things. After all, the bets made by the parties involved were too controllable. Even if it was allowed, they could only bet that they would win. After all, if they wanted to lose, no matter what, he could still lose. Chu Yang chuckled. Of course I bet on myself winning. Do you think I would bet on myself losing? That's good. How much would you like to bet? Third Master Jin asked impatiently. He thought to himself, if I don't bet a lot and it's hard to form an approximate ratio of bets, I can only cancel the bet. This is the first time I've played such a game. I'll play less. Zhen Yukai hesitated for a moment. Then he said, let's play with 50 purple cloud coins first. Hiss. The onlookers were originally here to watch the fun. But when they heard that someone actually bet 50 purple cloud coins and even said that it was a small game, they couldn't help but gasp. Third Master Jin was even more stunned. He thought that a pie would fall from the sky. Who would have thought that a mountain of gold would fall from the sky? He even had to struggle to catch it. Those who bet on Jin Xingxin's victory didn't have a few hundred purple cloud coins. This was already a rare big gamble. The main reason was that everyone was so crazy was because they were too confident. But he didn't expect this person to bet. Just 50 purple cloud coins? Are you sure you want to bet so much? Third Master Jin's eyes almost popped out. 50 purple cloud coins was 5 billion water cloud coins. According to the current odds, the odds were 1 to 50. If he really lost, he would lose. He would have to pay out 250 billion water cloud coins. Even though the water cloud coins were the most common currency used by ordinary people. Even though the Jin family's wealth accumulated over 1,000 years was far more than 250 billion water cloud coins. But if he wanted to lose so much money in an outside game, the pressure was still very heavy. The main reason was that the other side didn't have so much money. The two bets started to go wrong again. 50 purple cloud coins. Is it a lot? Zhen Yukai asked curiously. Just by listening to his tone, it was as if he was talking about 50 water cloud coins. The way he looked at the crowd was like a super rich man looking at a bunch of bumpkins who had never seen the world. That kind of condescending look, that kind of arrogance. The crowd was speechless and collectively kept quiet. It seemed that it was really hard to answer this question. Was 50 purple cloud coins a lot? Did you know how many people in this world can't even earn one purple cloud coin after working hard for a lifetime? Now you're betting 50 purple cloud coins at once and you're saying that it's a small game? Is it a lot? Then, in your eyes, how much is a lot? Are you so sure? Third Master Jin stroked his goatee and squinted. Mr. Zhen, are you sure you want to use that spirit beast in the competition? You won't change your mind again, right? You should know that the focus of this outside game is your spirit beast. If you change your spirit beast at the last minute, the bet won't count. Chuyang was displeased. What are you talking about? Do you think I'm worth cheating people for such a small amount of money? Such a small amount of money, Zhen Youcai's wealth was truly perfect, at this moment, shocking everyone present. 5 billion water cloud coins in this Master Zhen's eyes, was just such a small amount of money. At this moment the way everyone looked at Zhen Youcai changed. They were no longer looking at a nouveau riche. Instead they were all guessing, this Zhen Youcai, is he, a member of a huge financial magnate? For a moment the crowd became cautious. Could such a person really win? The third master of Jin's heart was also uncertain. He was still worried. He waved his hand and called someone over. You go and check on that, tiger. Spirit beast, do you see anything unusual? Let's make sure again. If we fail miserably we'll lose a lot of money. Not long after, that person ran over breathlessly. I've confirmed that there's nothing unusual. The words nothing unusual were said very slowly. There was a meaning behind it. Everyone understood. The only one who didn't seem to understand was Master Zhen. At this point, Third Master Jin was relieved. Chuyang squinted and asked, You're so slow. Don't tell me, you can't afford such a small amount of money? What are you talking about? Third Master Jin laughed heartily. Not to mention such a small amount of money, even if it's more, our Jin clan isn't afraid. Take the money. Immediately someone came forward. Chuyang handed over 50 purple cloud coins and murmured, Do you want to add another 500? Third Master Jin's back was covered in cold sweat. Add another 500? If he lost, 1/10 of the Jin clan would be gone. This was the clan's wealth accumulated over 1,700 years. It was better not to risk it for now. Third Master Jin pretended not to hear Zhen Youcai's words and immediately announced, Is there anyone else who wants to bet? Is there anyone else who wants to bet? If not, we'll close the bet. No more waiting. But how could the onlookers let the Jin clan take all the money? Immediately they swarmed forward. I want to add more money. I bet on 5th Master Jin. Me too, me too, me too. I bet on the Jin clan. The last one made Third Master Jin roll his eyes. This bet was nominally between Zhen Youcai and Jin Xingxin, the 5th master of the Jin clan. But in fact everyone knew. This was definitely a private bet hosted by the Jin clan. In fact, Zhen Youcai was making a bet with the entire Jin clan. Otherwise, with 5th Master Jin's status in the clan, he wouldn't be able to get an Earth-grade spirit beast to participate in this level of bet. Everyone knew this in their hearts. But no one was willing to say it out loud. Now that this guy directly said that he was betting on the Jin clan, it was tantamount to breaking the taboo. If it was someone else who was smart, he would immediately announce that he was giving up the bet. He would be able to avoid the loss of a huge amount of wealth. Compared to losing face to keep the wealth. It was self-evident which was more important. Fortunately, great official Zhen didn't care about this at all. It was as if the victory was already in his hands. He smiled casually, took the bet sheet and turned to leave. Jin Xingxin followed beside him and walked back together. Brother Zhen, may I ask where you are from? 5th Master Jin was now somewhat polite. The way he looked at Chuyang was as if he was looking at a big fat sheep that he could take anything he wanted. Well, from Heaven Saint City. Why are you asking this? Are you checking the family tree? Chuyang turned his head as if he had spilled the beans. Nothing, nothing. Jin Xingxin smiled and walked to the side. But his heart skipped a beat. He was actually from Heaven Saint City. The biggest city in the Heaven Imperial Court. The place where the saint lived. The core of the entire Heaven Imperial Court. Although the Jin clan was able to dominate the Purple Cloud City and had great power, if this power was transferred to Heaven Saint City, it wouldn't even be considered as dregs. However, this nouveau riche Zhen Youcai was actually from Heaven Saint City. Where did he come from? Fifth Master Jin knew that he wouldn't be able to get any more information if he stayed any longer, but these 3 words had already made him understand. He pondered and walked back. Cheers rose from the stands. Overwhelming cheers. Tonight's Spirit Beast game was about to officially start. The host's voice was full of enthusiasm. Ladies and gentlemen, the game of Spirit Beast game of our Purple Cloud City is about to start. This time, the participants of the game are Jin Sheng Xang Gong of the Purple Cloud City and the mysterious rich Mr. Jin Yu Kai of our Purple Cloud City. There was a burst of applause. The 5th Elder Jin Spirit Beast is the Earth-level Spirit Beast, the Golden Single-Horned Dragon Python. And Mr. Jin Yotsai's Spirit Beast is a Big Cat Tiger. Cough cough cough. Yes, it is the mighty and majestic Big Cat Tiger, the Big Cat Tiger that has never been defeated. Chapter 1762. The host's voice clearly showed a hint of astonishment. Yes, it's the Big Cat Tiger. The Big Cat Tiger. Listening to his voice, when the host said the words Big Cat Tiger, his intestines should be in a mess. Now the battle between the two is about to begin. Everyone please wait and see. Let's see if the Golden Single-Horned Dragon Python or the undefeated Big Cat Tiger will continue to write the legend of invincibility. On the viewing platform in the box. Immediately many people laughed out loud. Novel chapters are the fastest to update. Big Cat Tiger? This is a spirit beast? Did the Heavenly Imperial Court have such a name? The undefeated Big Cat Tiger? To think that this host could come up with the words mighty and majestic. He was really eloquent. Indeed, it had never been defeated before. This is the Big Cat Tiger's first battle. Since it has never been defeated before, it probably won't be defeated in the future. Very likely it will meet its end here today. Will there be a battle between the two? Where will there be a battle between the two? With the fighting power of the Earth-grade Golden Single-Horned Dragon Python, it would probably swallow this Big Cat Tiger, with a single charge. This host was really speaking against his conscience. Undefeated legend. Bullshit. Under the anticipation of the crowd, this unprecedented and exciting battle between the two spirit beasts finally began. Both sides have agreed that this will be the battle of victory and defeat. It has nothing to do with life and death. The host shouted loudly. Both sides began to walk off the stage. Chu Yang stood on Brother Tiger's side. On the other side, a hole appeared in the big net. A golden python with a white jade-like horn on its forehead appeared. Its whole body looked like a golden sculpture. It was unusually handsome. It was hissing and spitting out its forked tongue as it slithered in. A cold and gloomy aura was emitted. Even though they were tens of feet apart, Chu Yang could feel the bone-chilling coldness. It was a kind of bone-chilling murderous intent. It was like walking in a mass grave in the middle of the night and seeing a zombie jump out. It made one's heart palpitate. An Earth-grade spirit beast was indeed not to be underestimated. The moment it appeared, it gave everyone a show of strength. Chu Yang estimated. With ZJ's current cultivation, if he didn't use Calamity Sword, he wouldn't be a match for the snake. Jin Xingxin stood outside the net, gently stroking the Earth-grade Golden Single-Horned Dragon Python with his hand. He murmured as if he was instructing the Golden Single-Horned Dragon Python. There was only victory and defeat, not life and death. This was a request that too many people made to Jin Wugong. The number of people was so great that Jin Wugong could not handle it. They couldn't afford to offend him. Mr. Jin, you can't be the only one who gets all the benefits. If you kill Jin Yotsai's spirit beast, how can we win money? That's right, that's right. Duke Jin, your family has eaten meat. We should at least get some soup to drink. This kind of opportunity is too rare. It would be best to let Jin Yu Kai, that Big Cat Tiger, fight for hundreds of rounds. No matter what, he had to take all the money out of him before killing him. That's more like it. That's right, that's right. It's better to share the joy than to share the joy alone. If there's money to be made, everyone should earn it. Regarding this, Jin Xingxin was actually very helpless. However, he really did not have the strength to deal with so many lobbyists. In fact, the Earth-grade Golden Single-Horned Dragon Python was a very bloodthirsty spirit beast. It also liked to devour its target. If it was not told beforehand, it would probably swallow the Big Cat Tiger. If that was the case, it would offend too many people. However, this Golden Single-Horned Dragon Python did not really care about Jin Wugong. Jin Wugong was not its real owner. If it were not for this special competition, how could Jin Wugong be qualified to own an Earth-grade spirit beast? Regarding this, Jin Wugong was really in a terrible fix. He could not afford to offend the public. Although the Jin clan was a big clan, if he ruined the collective mood of the other big clans present, it would also be a very offensive thing. The higher-ups of the Jin clan might not care, but Jin Wugong could not care. Chu Yang stretched out his hand and gently stroked Brother Hu's body. He said, "You must be careful. If you can't win, you can escape back. We don't care about money. We can earn more if we lose it. You only have one life, and ZJ's life is the most important. You must remember your life is the most important." Brother Hu nodded. Brother Hu, who had always been arrogant, bloodthirsty and warlike, was very docile at this moment. He was so docile that Chu Yang was not used to it. Brother Hu actually had such a side to him? Along with the majestic drumbeat, along with Chu Yang's gentle stroking, especially that sentence, Brother Hu felt as if he was going back in time. It was as if they had returned to the time when they were fighting in the Beast Arena. Translator, Atlas Studios editor. Atlas Studios. At that time, ZJ was helpless and terrified. He could only be at the mercy of others. Many of ZJ's kind and seniors grew up in the beast fighting arena. In the end, they also died in there. There were no exceptions. All of them died. No, they died in the beast fighting arena. Over there, the life of the beast fighting arena could not be described as a life. The living ZJ would be squeezed dry of all its value. Once it died, it would have no value. He thought that ZJ would not be able to avoid this fate. He did not know when the beast fighting arena would come. Perhaps ZJ would also become a stiff corpse. He would fulfill some people's wishes, but at the same time he would also empty some people's wallets. He would become the target of those people's curses and anger. However, his benefactor appeared at that moment. He appeared without any warning. Out of so many of his kind, he only chose ZJ. His hand gently stroked ZJ's back. That indescribable comfort. At the same time, the aura that changed the course of ZJ's life entered ZJ's body from his benefactor's hand. In an instant, ZJ's body mutated. It mutated from the root. That aura increased ZJ's ability by countless times. It expanded ZJ's potential to infinity. When his benefactor removed his hand, ZJ became the king of his kind. He was the undisputed king of his kind. The once invincible opponent could only wag his tail and beg for mercy in front of ZJ. He did not dare to act rashly. That was the fear that came from the bottom of a person's soul when facing a king. At that moment, Jianghu was reborn, and ZJ's life was completely rewritten. However, his benefactor did not keep ZJ by his side. Instead, he let ZJ go. From then on, that mysterious aura remained in ZJ's body. It allowed ZJ to evolve again and again. He finally became the Beast King, Beast Emperor, Beast Venerable, until he reached the Beast Limitless. Even that time when the dimension shattered, it was also because of the mysterious aura that his benefactor gave him. It protected ZJ and allowed him to drift in the space turbulence. If it wasn't for that power, ZJ would have turned into a pile of bones or a pile of fine powder many years ago, dissipating with the wind without a trace. For many years, ZJ had wanted to return to his peak state and look for his benefactor. No matter where he went, 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 he still wanted to look for his benefactor. However, he did not get what he wanted. Finally, on that day, Zhuren felt an aura similar to his benefactor appear in this place. That's why he rushed over in the middle of the night. He did not expect to see his master this time because the aura was too weak. It might be his benefactor, but he might have some information about his benefactor. As long as there's hope, he will try. Even if he has to hide in a lowly market, his benefactor seemed to like to patronize such places. His benefactor seemed to have a natural liking for beasts. That's why ZJ hid in this place and did not let anyone notice his abnormality. He would search for his benefactor every night. But ZJ came with high hopes, but it was to no avail. There was no trace of his benefactor's aura. However, on that day this person came to ZJ. The sword in his hand was clearly made by his benefactor. That aura is unforgettable and it's definitely not a mistake. It's the aura of his benefactor, the smell of his benefactor. I am not qualified to follow my benefactor, but I want to follow this person who is related to my benefactor. I want to protect him and grow up. I believe that if I can accompany him, I might have a chance to meet my benefactor again. That's why I am willing to acknowledge him as my boss. At least, I want to protect him on behalf of my benefactor. Luckily, this boss and my benefactor treated me well. Since I cannot find my benefactor now, it is not a bad choice to stay by his side. Especially just now when he stroked my back before the battle. That gentleness is very similar to the feeling my benefactor gave me. Listening to the cheers around him and looking at the ferocious faces of the people around him, Tiger Gu felt the warmth of his memories. This kind of event can make me reminisce. Actually, I really want to spend more time in this kind of place. The memories from back then were so heartwarming and touching. Ah. That invincible and undefeated cat tiger seems to be scared stiff. Someone shouted from the side. That's right. Why isn't it moving? Could it be that the spiritual beasts were intimidating each other, causing the big cat tiger to be unable to move? Damn, Jin Wugong won too easily this time. You can't force the fate of a person. That's right. That golden single-horned dragon python is almost in front of him, but this invincible big cat tiger is still in a daze. They are not even on the same level. He has never been defeated before. Looks like he's about to open his business. Everyone was discussing among themselves. Anyway, no one is optimistic about Tiger Gu. Jin Wugong smiled and rubbed his fingers together. It seems like he is about to collect the money. You can't blame him for this. In this situation, 100 people have to believe that he can win. 1,000 people have to believe that he can win. Even if there are 10,000 people, there must be at least 1,000 people who believe that he can win. Except for Zhen Yukai. Many people even stared at Duke Jin with envious and jealous gazes. This guy was really too lucky. But at this moment, the golden single-horned dragon python rushed over. Chapter 1763. A trace of cold-blooded cruelty flashed across the golden single-horned dragon python's cold eyes. It opened its mouth wide and was about to swallow the opponent in front of it. Facing such an opponent, it didn't even bother to use its innate skill. It would just swallow it whole and be done with it. As for not being allowed to kill, who set this rule? The words of the guy who brought him here were nothing, not even worth a fart. It was his good fortune that it didn't swallow him whole. The golden single-horned dragon python didn't care about this. This was the pride of an earth-level spirit beast. At the last moment when the cold fangs were about to bite Brother Tiger's head, Brother Tiger suddenly woke up and jumped abruptly in front of everyone's eyes. In everyone's eyes, or rather, it could be said that everyone could see that it was a jump out of panic, or a jump out of desperation to survive. They had to admit that this jump actually helped the big cat tiger escape from danger temporarily. It actually leaped into the air and coincidentally landed on the back of the golden single-horned dragon python. Moreover, its whole body was trembling and everyone could see the trembling of its fur. It climbed up with difficulty. It was fine if it didn't climb up, but when it climbed up, its hind legs kicked twice and coincidentally, it kicked on the head of the golden single-horned dragon python. As everyone knew, the golden single-horned dragon python's eyes were on the top of its head. When its hind legs kicked on the golden single-horned dragon python, something happened that made everyone's jaws drop. The sharp nails on the claws that were emitting cold light actually sank into the golden single-horned dragon python's wide-open eyeball. The big cat tiger cried out in horror, as if it was very surprised and scared that its hind legs had stepped on something soft and sank into it. It struggled a few times in a flurry before it finally pulled its claws out of the golden single-horned dragon python's eyeball. Immediately after, black blood spurted out with a foul smell. The golden single-horned dragon python's eyeball had turned into a pile of paste. The golden single-horned dragon python was stunned. It paused for a moment before it reacted. Suddenly, it let out an earth-shattering scream, roar. Who said that snakes couldn't roar? It was proven that when a snake really roared, it could also be very heart-wrenching. On the stands and in the private rooms, countless people's eyeballs almost popped out of their eye sockets. Clap, clap, clap. Countless Hawkeye sleeves fell from his hands and rolled around on the ground. No one would have thought that such a scene would actually occur. Such a grotesque scene happened just like that. Where was the logic to go? At this moment, the golden single-horned dragon python was infuriated to the point of insanity. It was in so much pain that it was on the verge of exploding. Underestimating the enemy? Does it count? It didn't count. He had never expected that his carelessness and underestimation of his opponent would cause him to be so severely injured right from the start. Most importantly, this injury seemed to have been caused by his opponent's unintentional and panic. This was even more unbearable. The intense pain caused by the rupture of the eyeball drove the golden single-horned dragon python completely mad. With a whoosh sound, the golden single-horned dragon python coiled up like a whirlwind. Soon after, the entire field suddenly turned dark. Gusts of yellow and black whirlwinds whirled around. This was the golden one-horned dragon python's innate skill. It was also an Earth-tier advanced skill, Yellow-Black Storm. The two whirlwinds were actually two types of deadly poison. They were the symbiotic poison of the golden single-horned dragon python yin and yang. Any warrior below the earth tier would die immediately. That was not the end of it. It opened its mouth, and a ball of golden light was brewing in its mouth. This was the unique skill of the golden one-horned dragon python. It would never use this skill unless it was in a life-and-death battle. Golden explosion ball. This was the famous skill of the golden one-horned dragon python. At the same time, it was also the origin of its name. Once the golden explosion ball was used, even a heaven-tier expert would be severely injured. This was a desperate move. The golden one-horned dragon python obviously hated a certain tiger to the extreme. It was determined to completely rot this fellow and then use the golden explosion ball to smash it into pieces before swallowing it whole. Under the watchful eyes of the crowd, the big cat tiger did not show any joy of severely injuring its opponent. It kept retreating in fear. Its tail kept wagging as if it was begging for mercy. Begging for its opponent to be merciful? The golden one-horned dragon python pounced over like a whirlwind. Meow! This cry made the jaws of all the spectators drop at the same time. They were really stunned to death. Such a ferocious beast, which was more than 3 zhang long, actually let out a cat cry? Was this thing an ocelot or a cat? A ball of yellow light and black fog exploded with a loud bang. The golden explosion ball exploded. In a blur, a panic-stricken figure could be seen jumping up again. Its jumping ability was incomparable and it directly jumped to the opposite corner of the arena, panting heavily. That golden explosion ball violently exploded on the inescapable net of the animal fighting arena. Outside, the expert supervising the arena was blown away by this force and rolled out like a rubber ball. This was because the inescapable net had already eliminated most of the force. Otherwise, that expert would have died long ago. However, the big cat tiger actually dodged such an astonishing attack once again. It was really too lucky. The golden one-horned dragon python's furious cry shook the heavens and the earth. It quickly turned around and faced the big cat tiger, which was so scared that its soul seemed to have left its body and was shivering. Its huge body, which was more than 5 zhang long, soared into the air and flew over like a golden lightning bolt. A cold and violent hurricane rose from the ground. The people on the other side shuddered at the thought of this. It was as if they had fallen into an ice cave. The big cat tiger let out another loud cry and shivered. It mustered all its courage and strength and leaped toward the opponent. Should it face the attack? Or should it dodge? It seemed that it was more likely to dodge. Because the big cat tiger's outstanding jumping ability had already allowed it to dodge the golden one-horned dragon python's head-on attack. However, this round of battle was far from over. In fact, it was just the beginning. Because, oh my God! On the stands in the private rooms, countless people who were holding Hawkeye gloves felt goosebumps all over their bodies at the same time. After dodging the opponent's attack, the big cat tiger jumped onto the golden single-horned dragon python's head. The hind claw that it didn't use just now coincidentally scratched into the other eye of the golden single-horned dragon python just like before. That was not all. The big cat tiger, which seemed to be in a panic and didn't know what to do, actually crashed into the golden one-horned dragon python's erect white jade horn. Ow meow! The big cat tiger let out a miserable cry and was instantly sent flying and bounced back. However, it wasn't that the tiger didn't gain anything from this collision. In fact, it gained a lot. The pitiful golden one-horned dragon python's unusually handsome horn was actually broken off from the root. It fell to the ground with a pah sound, and a large amount of blood gushed out from the bloody hole on its head. Everyone knew that the golden one-horned dragon python's weak point was its horn. Moreover, as a reptile and a type of python, the golden one-horned dragon python's eyes were the same as other snakes without exception. They weren't very useful. The thing that actually commanded it to attack or move forward was the white jade horn. It had a function similar to the sound waves released by bats, guiding the direction. Without its horn, the golden single-horned dragon python had truly become blind, deaf, and had a severely congested nose. Could not even smell anything. Now, the golden one-horned dragon python's condition could only be described as extremely miserable and tragic. Not only were both of its eyes blinded, but its most important horn had also been broken. It could only rely on its instincts to roll around in the beast battle arena, biting, circling, and charging everywhere. It cried out miserably as it attacked blindly without any purpose. However, the big cat tiger was shivering and hiding in a corner. The golden one-horned dragon python couldn't attack it at all. It hid in a corner and trembled all over, looking at the golden one-horned dragon python with eyes full of fear. However, the golden one-horned dragon python had attacked almost all the spots except for this one, blind spot? Blind spot. How could this be possible? Everyone fell into a daze at the same time. Was this luck? If this was luck, then this was too lucky. Oh my god. In the private room, Jianghu was dumbstruck. Never in his wildest dreams did he expect such an outcome. An Earth-level spirit beast actually ended up in such a miserable state because it underestimated its enemy. Jianghu had two questions that he couldn't figure out. The first question was, spirit beasts were spirit beasts. In the world of spirit beasts, how could they underestimate their enemy? The golden one-horned dragon python wouldn't let its guard down in a normal battle, even if it was against a mouse. It would only relax after it had completely killed or devoured its opponent. Why was it so muddle-headed this time? The second question was, many of the golden one-horned dragon python's attacking methods hadn't been used yet. Why didn't it use them? As an Earth-level spirit beast, the golden one-horned dragon python had been trained by the Jin family for so many years. It was even proficient in martial arts to a certain extent. It could even transform the lower half of its body into a whip, a broadsword, or a long spear. However, it didn't show any of these in this battle. It didn't even use the most primitive and basic survival method of a snake, which was to entangle its opponent to death. How could it end up in such a state? Also, the most puzzling thing was, the horn of the golden one-horned dragon python could be said to be the strongest part of its body. It was also where the golden one-horned dragon python's life was located. It had always attached great importance to it and would never allow anyone to touch it. How could it be hit so easily this time? Moreover, it was broken with just one hit? Was he fucking made of tofu? Blood was still spurting out in the field. The whole field was almost soaked in the blood of the golden one-horned dragon python. The golden one-horned dragon python was still in a frenzy. However, anyone could see that this golden one-horned dragon python was definitely not going to survive. Now that its life gate was broken, it meant that its life was coming to an end. Even a saint-level spirit beast couldn't escape from such an injury, let alone an earth-level spirit beast. There were only 3 words to describe it: it was dead. And the big cat tiger that caused all of this was trembling in fear at the side as if it was a sieve. Chapter 1764. Everyone turned their gazes and looked at the big cat tiger that was still cowering in a corner and shivering. That classic cowardly behavior, that cowardly look of not daring to fight at all, and that eye-catching horn-like lump on the top of its head, it was the price it had to pay for hitting its head on the horn just now. It caused such a big bump on the big cat tiger's head. It was as if the golden single-horned dragon python's horn had grown on the big cat tiger's head. This cowardly look made everyone sigh and wring their hands. Fuck, if the golden single-horned dragon python couldn't kill this big cat tiger before it ran out of life force, this guy would actually become the winner? It would win the competition inexplicably. Everyone who realized this result was petrified. Under the watchful eyes of the crowd, the bestial battle arena was like a silent movie. The golden single-horned dragon python continued to roar, scream, groan, and attack, until it was groaning and squirming. Gradually, it stopped moving, completely motionless. The snake's head that was once high and mighty now fell to the ground like a plastic pipe that had been drained of water. It twitched a few times with great effort and finally returned to silence. Although they had already realized that this result was coming, they still hoped that a miracle would happen. The crowd fell into a daze and the whole arena was silent. It was at this moment that a mighty roar suddenly rang out. The big cat tiger actually stood up like a lively dragon and shook its fur. Then, it rushed up to the corpse of the golden unicorn dragon python with an aura of a mighty, invincible king. It hissed and bit at the corpse of the golden unicorn dragon python. Its mouth was still growling. Although the crowd didn't understand what this guy was saying, they could guess it because a certain tiger's expression said it all. "Stand up, you bastard. I'm here to fight with you. Come on. Come, let's fight to our heart's content. This old one will have a fair fight with you. Stand up and fight with me if you have the guts. Why are you pretending to be dead? Stand up. Come back and fight with this old one if you have the guts." Although the big cat tiger might not have said that, its proud and rampant, arrogant and domineering, and beating the dog while it's down boldness made everyone think that it was not too far from the truth even if they couldn't guess it. Seeing this big cat tiger hissing and biting at the corpse, as if it was in a life-and-death battle state, the crowd felt their jaws dislocate. They felt that their eyeballs were about to fly out of their sockets. Their eyeballs all over the ground? There was actually such a shameless beast in this world. It was really too shameless. Can you be any more shameless? Can would? Did you fucking forget that you only knew how to tremble and run away when your opponent showed his might just now? Now you're trying to show off? Can you be any braver? Finally, someone shouted, "Fuck? What kind of ability are you trying to show off in front of a dead person?" Someone immediately reminded him, "It's not a dead person, it's a dead snake." How shameless. It's really too shameless. Countless people were indignant at the tiger's actions, but more of them were unwilling to accept it. No one would be willing to accept such an outcome. It was obviously a good thing that fell from the sky, but the pie disintegrated in midair, and the filling was actually feces that covered the whole body and face. Other than being disgusted, there was nothing else. Oh, and it was also highly poisonous. You guys are actually talking to a beast about being shameless. Could it be that you guys actually understand the language of beasts? What a talent. A very small number of people who didn't place their bets for various reasons gloated and made sarcastic remarks, finally feeling better. The farce was still going on. That big cat tiger hissed and bit a few hundred times before it barely tore open the weakest part of the golden single-horned dragon python's belly and swallowed the inner core and snake gallbladder in a dignified and calm manner. While the crowd was dumbfounded, they beat their chests and stomped their feet. The dead golden single-horned dragon python was lying there for the cat tiger to bite, but it still took a few hundred bites to tear open its belly, which was second only to its vital part. What if it was still alive? However, this big cat tiger was the winner of this competition. How could the crowd accept this? How could they endure this? Brother Tiger slowly ate the snake's gallbladder and inner core. Only then did he shake his head and wagged his tail in satisfaction. With the heroic bearing of a victor, he walked in a circle around the field in a mighty and majestic manner. As he walked, he roared towards the sky. Roar! 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 It seemed to be announcing, "I won. I won. I'm the winner." Brother Tiger was really proud of himself in his heart. Although there was a huge disparity in strength, this game of pretending to be a pig to eat a tiger was really fucking satisfying. No one had noticed at all, and it was a real secret that it had made a fortune in silence. As for demonstrating and marching around the arena, it had wanted to do that for a long time. It had been so many years. It had wanted to do that when it was in the animal fighting arena, but it didn't have the chance. It had slipped away after one round of fighting. Now, of course, it had to walk a few more rounds to its heart's content. Yuan's regret back then. Sigh, how many regrets in life? Below the arena, everyone was dumbstruck and silent. After a long time, a person who didn't place a bet asked his companion gloatingly, "Brother, how much did you win? Do you have to treat us?" Ah. This sentence completely woke everyone up. Countless people beat their chests and stomped their feet. In an instant, resentment filled the sky. My money. Ah, my money. Damn it, I actually lost. How could I lose in such a situation? Oh God. I can't live anymore. Fuck, what kind of bullshit earth-grade spirit beast is it? It can't even beat an ordinary beast, causing me to lose so much money. I'm cursing its 18 generations of ancestors, cursing its descendants to be unable to get hard. After this battle, I've completely lost confidence in the so-called spirit beasts. How can I believe in beasts? Woo. Jin Xingxin and Jin Wugong looked defeated. Their eyes were lifeless as they stared blankly at the big cat tiger that was still circling around the arena. Their hearts had already collapsed. Since it was a game between spirit beasts, there were definitely risks. There were winners and losers. Of course, it could also be said that the winner was the loser. If they had lost the battle and died, Jin Wugong wouldn't find it so hard to accept. However, the problem was that everyone, even an idiot, could see that the golden single-horned dragon python had the absolute advantage. No, it should be an absolute victory. It definitely had the tyrannical strength to crush this big cat tiger to death without any effort. However, with such a huge disparity in combat power, the final result was an extremely sullen loss. Moreover, the deciding factor of victory was actually 3 consecutive accidents. The most frustrating thing was that these accidents were all based on the fact that the big cat tiger escaped all the way. This fellow didn't even dare to fight head-on, but it still won. Tell me, where is this logic to go? The people around him looked at Jin Wugong sympathetically and quietly moved away from him. This guy looks like he's about to break down. If he's going to break down, then so be it. Don't go crazy. Even if you go crazy, don't go crazy on us. Third Master Jin, who was in charge of the gambling outside the arena, was much better than his nephew. He was still rational, but his head was full of sweat. His goatee was trembling in the wind, and his hands were shaking like chicken feet. His face was even more lifeless. Fuck, it was obviously a sure-win bet, but he lost. Well, it didn't seem to be a loss, because there were many people who lost. Those who bet on Jin Xingxin's victory all lost everything, and all the money became Third Master Jin's. But the problem was, all the money added up was only 873 purple cloud coins. But he had to pay Jin Yukai a total of 2,550 purple cloud coins. This time he really lost a lot of money. Third Master Jin had been the banker here for more than 10 years. Half of the money he earned and half of his life went to Jin Yukai at this moment. At this moment, Third Master Jin's face was pale. It wasn't because of winning or losing, but because of his heartache. It wasn't that he couldn't afford to lose. Third Master Jin had been gambling here for more than 10 years, and he had seen all kinds of storms. As a banker, he could win 10 times in a row, but it was impossible to win 10 times without losing. Occasionally, there would be mistakes or accidents. If you really won all the time, who would bet with you? Who dared to bet so much money was really stupid. Did you think that everyone was like Mr. Zhen a few days ago? But today he lost so much money. It was really painful. Half of his life savings was gone just like that. Anyone else would be distressed. How could you not be distressed? Energy would, and energy. On the other side, the host was also in a dazed, petrified, and fixed state for a long time. The outcome of the battle was already clear, but he was still sleepwalking and didn't know how to announce the result. If he had announced the result earlier, the snake gallbladder and internal elixir might have been left to the Jin family. Until Zhen Yukai roared, "Hey! I say, that host, did you have a fever yesterday? Did you forget to take your medicine today? Did you take the wrong medicine? Did you take fake medicine? How long has it been since the battle ended? Why haven't you announced the result yet? Are you very free? I'm waiting to get my money." Suddenly he burst into laughter again. "Ah, that's great. Big Cat Tiger is indeed mighty and majestic. It's invincible. It's continuing its undefeated legend. Today I've made a small fortune again. I'll give you more food later." Everyone who heard this only felt their balls cramping in pain. Made a small fortune? Only made a small fortune? Only made a small fortune? You fucking bet on this round. Other than the 100 purple cloud coins you won from Jin Wugong, you also won 2,500 purple cloud coins from Third Master Jin. In total, it's 2,000 purple cloud coins. In other words, it's 20 billion Shuiyun coins. And it's only a small fortune? I really want to ask you, how much is too much? Can you be more arrogant? Energy would, and energy. I have to take half a day off today. I saved this chapter yesterday. I felt something was wrong yesterday. Today I'm sweating all over. I feel nauseous and dizzy. I'm afraid it's the heat. I'm going to lie down after posting it. This year is probably the hottest year in history. The most hateful thing is because of my shoulders, neck, and waist. I don't dare to enjoy the air conditioning. Every day I write in my room like I'm in a sauna. I also felt that it would happen, but I didn't expect it to happen today. You're tuning in to the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.